All right, let's try this again. Okay, it says we're streaming again.
All right.
Hey, you just got a notification. Yay. All right, we might be going now. Yep, we're on.
Yes, we're on.
All right.
Nice.
Finally. Welcome to Talking Heads. Yeah, YouTube has been driving me nuts lately. It didn't stream to the right thing again. I was sending it data, but it wasn't streaming. But here we are. Welcome to Talking Heads, episode 76, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
Welcome to the show. All right. How's it going?
It's today was a weird, interesting day, but at work, but whatever.
I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
I kind of had an interesting one myself. A lot of meetings, a lot of yeah.
I had a lot of people screaming at me of, I need this done right away because it's super important.
Yeah.
But I messed it up.
Right.
It's like, because I was just being lazy.
Yeah.
I don't have time to deal with
I
this.
don't have time to deal with it now.
Yeah.
Now it's your problem. Yeah. I didn't have quite like that. It was just kind of an interesting day in general. But anyway, yeah. Spent a good chunk of last week and over the weekend in upgrade and patching hell.
Oh, yeah?
Taking care of things that I had kind of neglected for a couple of months, and in a couple of cases, a couple of years. So I went through a bunch of patches. We run close to 70 VMs in our data center, and then we have a redundant data center as well.
Uh-huh.
We did, I think, 68 of them patched perfectly. One of them was already up to date, and one of them failed. So I only have one machine to work on. So anyway, yeah. So it was kind of an interesting and long week and long weekend and whatnot. But here we are. Let's get to some beer.
Let's get some beer. We have some pretty cool ones today. Most of our beer here is actually from you guys.
From you guys, exactly.
So we got some from a couple patrons. We got one from us, but majority of it's here.
I bought the Rasputin.
Yeah.
I bought the Rasputin. But yeah, we'll start with up front. If you remember last week, we had a viewer, Caveman, from the Patreon, donate. He actually donated a 12-pack of beer, so we're just kind of grabbing a can or two a week, and we'll just kind of work our way through them. This time we have a salted caramel brown ale from Horny Goat Brewing. I wish I had read that before we started the show.
Gosh.
Horny Goat Brewing.
Even when we were downstairs, like, there's a joke somewhere in a salted brown ale. And then the name, Horny Goat.
Yeah.
Oh.
Horny Goat Brewing in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And Stevens Point, Michigan. Or Stevens Point, Wisconsin, excuse me. So they've got two breweries there. So yeah. Salted caramel brown ale. What's the ABV? Did it say?
I wouldn't be surprised, like 5.5.
I was going to say 6, probably.
Yeah.
6.5.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we've got another Bent Paddle Brewing in Deluth. This is their cold pressed black coffee ale. So
not a porter. This is an ale.
Not a porter. Yeah, it's an ale. So
well,
very similar to the Rogue cold press.
Yeah. So I hope so.
Yeah. And again, I hate their font, so I'm not even going to read the description. Yeah,
you can see
6%.
Yeah, you can see we're talking about that. Yeah, and then I did a beer trade. Well, it's 50% done. I haven't sent mine to Skull yet, but he sent me a couple of really cool beers. So we have Half Arc Beer Company, their Move Through the Hills Like a Ghost mixed cultured ale.
Yep.
So it's going to be a bit sour. This comes in at 5.2%.
Yep.
So.
And then this one is one of our favorites.
It's a fantastic
this
beer.
Is good. North Coast Brewing Company. This is the Old Rasputin Russian Imperial Stout. What is this? 9%? Yeah, 9%.
9%.
One of the best quality Imperial Stouts out there.
It's one of those, even if you're a craft beer drinker, you drink this, you're like, well, that's interesting. And it's a very acquired tasting beer.
Yes.
And then once you acquire it, like, oh my God, you appreciate it so much.
Yep.
So what do you think of having first?
Let's go and start with the sour. I think that one's going to be a little bit better cold.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of move darker through the night.
Sounds good.
LOL, Horny Goat sounds better than Baron Wart. It's very true. It's very true. I'm going to turn up the light just a little bit.
It is a bit dark.
You're a little dark on your side. I think I'm going to bump the ISO. There we go. I had the lights a little bit darker. I was trying a little bit more shadow.
For sensual.
Yeah. There we go. All right, that's a little better.
We need a
Hey, we can see you now.
We need a sound effects board.
Corsair, send me a stream deck. I'd love one. All right, that's a little better. We can see you now. Your hair's not blending into the cabinet behind you anymore. All right. Suppose you want a bottle opener?
I guess. I figured it's your show. You can open it.
I don't know. The lip might be too much to get on that one. I got. No, my keychain's in the. Oh no!
Aha!
John to the rescue.
There you are.
Not one of the aluminum pieces.
One of them. Hey, you know what? Works.
Yep. There we go. We're in.
Surprised you don't use one of your craft computing ones.
It's normally on my keychain and it's in my bedroom. I pulled my keys out already. Try not to take it all here.
Because supposedly in the description said it has a funk.
It's funky.
So
Have you had this one before?
I have not.
Okay.
Everything Skull sent me, I have not had. He, even though he says himself that he does not like sours, and I told him I did, and he's like, "Oh, I got one for you."
Yeah, and I do appreciate a good sour.
Yes.
Now, this is a deep bottle.
Yes, I think you're giving me a bit more.
No, there's.
Oh,
I
there's
stopped
still
because
more.
there's still more left. Like, we'll get 2 full pints out of this. Look at that.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah.
Yes, it does have a.
It's funky.
It's funky.
It's funky.
There's a nice acidic funk to it.
Yeah. I was trying to think. Like, it's not like a lemon acid. It's a little different than that. But it reminds me of a citrusy acid.
Yes, it's a very citrusy, almost a little bit of herbiness to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, combine a dank IPA with a sour like that, and that's the nose that I'm getting.
Yeah, this is definitely a culture, not a kettle sour, a true sour.
No, exactly.
Well, that gets the glands right there.
Yes, it does. Little pucker factor
Little
on the
pucker
back there.
factor in the back there. Right there.
Yep. Okay.
It's not the greatest sour I've ever had, but it's a decent sour.
Yeah. It's decent.
It's decent.
It's definitely decent.
Yeah.
I'm trying to dig the flavors out, and they're not... Like, it's sour, and it's a pleasant flavor, but I'm trying to recognize them, and I'm not getting them.
There's like a dry woodiness to it. Almost like a gin type quality.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very dry.
Very dry.
Very dry.
Very dry.
Huh. Oh, there's the pucker.
Yeah. There's like, it right away,
Yep.
then there's this dryiness, and then there's a bit of a tartness.
Yeah.
Lemon, herby, woody.
Yep. Yeah, we're getting reports the Twitch stream is down. Yeah, it is. Until I can figure out what the heck is going on between Restream and YouTube right now, I'm having to go straight to YouTube.
Yeah.
And I apologize to my 5 Twitch viewers. I only get about 6 or 7 viewers on Twitch per stream. So it's not like it's a huge draw for me. It's more just something I do because some people prefer one over the other.
You got that?
Stuck. There we go. There we go. I was pinching my charging cable. Hey, I'm wireless now. All right. Okay.
All right. Well, let's get into some. Well, it's a bit of a mix of not really beer news,
Right.
but it was April Fool's recently.
Yes.
Monday, right?
Monday, in fact.
Monday, in fact. Did you do anything at your job?
No. I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago that I have been banned from any and all pranks.
Yes.
Because
I just figured.
Because I'm like a nuclear power. You don't mess with me because So people have said, do not prank Jeff because you will lose. And Jeff, you are not allowed to initiate anything. And in fact, be careful with your retaliations too. So yeah, no, I did not pull any pranks this year.
Oh.
I had a couple in my brain that I really wanted to do, but
I just threw a couple scripts on some people's computers.
Yep.
And did the whole oh, your computer's about to blow up.
Yeah.
IT. It just the really simple ones of this is we couldn't find the shortcut. Please redo it. But then you clicking through it. And then the messages got really stupid and really stupid and really stupid. But what was really bad on my part, or their part, was they're like, yeah, I just clicked through them all.
Yep.
I didn't care if it was a virus.
Yep.
And people...
I got work to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it was bad because I kept doing it to people. What I did was I pretended to do, hey, I got to do a virus scan on your computer. Then I installed it really quickly.
You can't push it remotely? What kind of duct tape operation you running there? Like I said, I'm a nuclear power.
Yeah, no. Well, that's the thing. Is we are just now recently installing one that we could do for remotely. Right. So that's what I was doing. But what was so bad? And I said, hey, if you see anything, give me a call. And then they come back, and I did this all during lunch, and they came back and tried clicking on Chrome and a couple other shortcuts. I did it, and no one called me. I walked by an hour later, like, oh yeah, I clicked through it. I didn't care. I don't have time for if this is a virus or not. It's like, oh, it just shows how mindless and horrible the people I work with care about the computers and the networks we're working.
Yep. My YouTube isn't shooting anymore. That's weird. Sorry, I was trying to type a message and it only went to the Twitch stream. It didn't go to YouTube because I don't know why. Anyway, so someone asked a question. Love your content. Did I ever update my server rack or my closet? Actually, if John, you shift to one side or the other. So that's a brand new 4U server case for a brand new server that I'm building. So all new virtual machine server and probably 3 to 4 tutorials coming up on services I'll be running on that. That'll be coming up probably in about 2 weeks or so, and then there will be one tutorial every week for quite a while on the channel here. So, yeah, it's coming soon. It's coming soon. So, all right.
But we were talking about the April Fools.
April Fools.
And a lot of places are playing, you always get it, news, you always see it on the news. And some of the big players are beer. There's actually a lot of breweries and places that do very big April Fools. Actually, one of the biggest ones was the helium beer that people actually thought was real.
Yeah.
And till this day, people still, I get sent to it, hey, you got to brew helium beer. I was like, this is a joke.
Yeah, it was an April Fool's joke. It's a really good one.
It's a really good one. So good that that happened. But some of the ones that came out for beer was the NHS Launches FREE BEER prescription.
Yep. For down and out Brits.
So you can basically go there and get a free pint.
Yeah, so the Ministry of Health was writing prescriptions for Brits who could not afford their habits.
Yes.
And yeah, if you went down, you can get a pint filled at your local pharmacy.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
By the way, scroll down. There's a picture down below. One more. Where is it at? There it is.
There it is.
I want to know if you poured that one.
Oh, shut up. It's obviously British because it's warm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he guys always making fun of me.
No, John poured that beer.
Yeah, as long as he paid, I don't care.
That's right. So, yeah. Boy, I wish we could get beer prescriptions around here. And,
yeah.
Yeah, and in Portland, you can get some great...
You can get some great stuff.
Yeah.
Subscribe to you.
Yeah.
Subscribe to you.
Yep. Kind of like, what was it? What's his name? Churchill used to have cognac on prescription or gin on prescription or whatever it was.
Some kind of liquor.
So when he came to the States during Prohibition, he could drink. it was cognac or whiskey or gin or something.
That man was smart.
Yes. Oh, man.
And that's a...
Man after my own heart.
Yes. Some of the actually more favorite, or another one was Stone.
Yes.
Stone's very known for their big IPAs, and they kind of released this one. Actually, I went on Untapped, and people are claiming they've checked this beer in. I think it was probably their employers or someone like that are pushing it, but it's Stone Asparagus IPA coming soon to a store to you.
Yeah.
That one was kind of.
By the way, read the description below. Yeah.
The unfiltered IPA features real vegetable matter in suspension in each bottle.
You didn't read the...
I never read it, no. This guarantees to bring joy to the palate of asparagus-loving beer drinkers. Says Stone Fountain. It just reeks of deliciousness, and you'll be aromatically reminded of your good choice in every visit to the bathroom.
We are flushed with excitement about this one.
Yes.
End quote. Yeah.
That was actually funny because I didn't read that, but I was thinking, it's like, oh man, your pee is gonna just have this great aroma to it.
Yeah. Yep.
Stone's actually been known to do some pretty good ones.
Yes.
I think I was actually on last year when we did this, but I think either last year or the year before, they did their whole website, but they did retro website.
Yeah.
And that was pretty clever of them. I really liked that one. There was actually a pretty big one that went through, and I don't know if we can even show.
We can play it. I have the audio muted.
Okay.
So we can show up to 30 seconds. So maybe skip forward to about midway through. Keep going. They're just doing interviews and showing the side.
There's this.
There you go. Go ahead and hit there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right
switch
here.
Over.
So what this is Craft Dome, Sierra Nevada. It was the head of not Brewdogs, but
Dogfish
Head.
Yeah.
So they wanted to make they were announcing a
Mount Rushmore of beer.
Yes, Mount Rushmore of beer. So the head of New Belgian, Brooklyn Brewing Company, Dogfish Head, and Sierra Nevada.
Basically, it'd be their 4 heads up on the side of this mountain. And the quotes are fantastic in this. I don't want anyone to get a big head over this. I mean, all we're doing is putting your head up really, really big on the side of a mountain. So it's...
At the very beginning, too, it's a joke. He's all, and Leslie Nopes from the Parks Department sits there. And it's like, this is a joke. But obviously, someone took some time into making this video.
Oh, yeah.
So that was kind of funny.
Yeah. So I got a good chuckle over that one.
Yeah.
And then what was the last one? Oh, that's right, Kingfish.
Yeah. The
What's funny is I didn't realize that you were posting April Fool's articles. And I just saw that one and I went, instant beer. Did they make like a powdered beer? Because that's been a thing before. The powdered alcohol.
It was funny, yeah.
But are they actually marketing it and distributing it and retailing it? That's what I wanted to know.
Well, what was funny is these guys are and I don't know if we have, but yeah, essentially Kingfisher was advertising instant beer, basically kind of like a Keurig, little capsule with alcohol that instantaneously makes beer.
Right.
But yeah, you can see right here, and then just stirs it up, makes a pitcher of beer.
We got beer, yeah.
But actually, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
There was a guy who came out with it wasn't powder; it was actually like a gelatin, and he made his own carbonated packets to where you basically shook it up, and it was natural carbonation from these stones, and you just added water, and it had the liquor. And there's a black IPA, there's a pale ale. I tried finding it because apparently it wasn't that good.
Right.
But it was like 5%, 6% beer.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we have seen liquid form capsule of alcohol.
Right.
Capsule.
And we've seen alcohol put down into like flavor packages before too.
Yeah, I think. Or one of the very first shows, we talked about like powdered vodka or something like that. So that's what I was like, I don't know if this is April Fool's or not.
Yeah. Yeah, when you posted this one, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Someone's actually trying it again.
Yeah.
And it's not a small player either. No. It's Kingfisher. So I went, could be good. I'd try it.
Could be, yeah. No, I mean, I would expect it to be obviously a very light, probably light lager, 3%. Right. But yeah, I mean, why not?
Yep. Boy, this is sour.
Yes,
really sour.
Yeah, well, Lincoln.
Like I'm a big fan of sours. This is pushing me tonight.
This is definitely needs to be a summer day, hot outside.
Yeah, this is like this is beyond like a lemonade sour.
This is quite tart.
Yeah,
it has an acidic.
Yeah, it's actually like biting my cheeks.
Yes. Yeah, if you ever have something that's so sour, it starts like making your glands numb almost.
It's not quite like a warhead, but it's approaching that level.
Yeah, kind of like when you sucked on that warhead and the bubbles, and it just started grabbing the back of your glands.
I can feel it underneath my tongue. I can feel it along the sides of my cheek, and then right down here, you can kind of feel this swelling just a little bit. It's a sour beer.
Yeah, it's almost like I have what's that chemical? Peroxide.
Yeah.
Like how peroxide just bubbles. It kind of just bubbles and lingers in your mouth and tingles. It feels like it's cleaning my mouth with all the acid.
And I'm trying to find, like I said, I'm still digging for like more richer flavors in there. And It's very light, and the flavors don't last very long. And honestly, the flavors aren't terribly great that I'm getting. Like, it's a solid beer. If it was slightly less tart, I think it would be much better. Mm-hmm. The tartness and the sourness and it's actually starting to hurt my mouth a little bit, is taking away from me and trying to enjoy and dig for these flavors.
Yeah. So it says it has a pillowy mouthfeel.
Boy, I wouldn't call it. No.
Maybe like a cheap Walmart pillow that costs you $5. And you take the cotton out of it.
Yeah.
Then it says delivers layers of lemon rind, earth, which I don't know what earth tastes like, and wood with a balance acidic and funk.
See, and you got the wood, and I got a little bit of the lemon.
Yeah.
And I'm getting some lemon.
You get, I mean, it's obvious. Yeah. You get,
but it's a very bitter lemon.
It's a very bitter lemon.
Very bitter lemon.
But apparently it's a Pilsner, wheat, oat, and aged hops. I don't know what aged hops are. Maybe really old hops that they had sitting in their freezer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's... The more I'm having of this, the less I'm enjoying.
I'm glad I brought it to share.
Yeah. No, this would be way too much for a single person. In fact, a pint is probably too much. I would have been happy with like 8 ounces.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed it, Skull. It's fantastic.
It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
I'm enjoying the experience.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't buy it again.
Right. I'm happy that I'm having it.
Yes.
But a full pint is definitely too much of this.
Yes.
All right, on to the tech April Fools, and not quite as many this year.
You know, that's what was funny. There really wasn't. Yeah. I was really expecting, like, even Intel and
Google was silent.
Yeah, Google was really silent. Yeah. I figured Intel, Asus, any of them, even Gigabit. I was like, well, give me something. You know, MSI usually has something.
We got an MSI one.
Oh yeah,
yeah, we got an MSI one. But yeah, overall, kind of slow for April days or April Fool's Day in the tech world.
And we had people looking.
Right. Let's see. ThinkGeek always delivers. They had the beanie bag one, or the beanbag onesies.
Oh yeah,
I completely forgot to add that one.
Oh.
But yeah, they had a beanbag onesie, so it's like a giant beanbag on your butt. Those were funny. Crossed with like a Snuggie.
Yeah.
But one notable absence was Blizzard not talking about something to do with Diablo, because they usually do some kind of fake announcement. There was nothing from them. So apparently it wasn't an April Fool's joke. You're still getting Diablo Immortal on your phones.
I was going to say, that's like, they probably got super embarrassed by that.
Yeah.
They're like, people are probably going to take this too seriously.
Guys, we can't joke about this year. Yeah. Anyway, Phanteks probably has one of my favorites from the year. It is the Phanteks Cheese Grater. We've heard great things about our Revolt power supply, but have you seen our power supplies used this way? You can remove the fan grill and use it as a cheese grater. It is the first multi-purpose power supply on the market. Thought that one was great.
That's funny.
This next one, was it this one? No, it's before the next one. There we go.
Oh yeah, this one actually, I was like,
I want this.
This was cool.
I want this product.
If this was real,
I totally want this product. So MSI absolutely took the cake, I think, this year with their Gamer DSLR. So photography and gaming, two things near and dear to my heart. It does come in 2 colors, black and white, but obviously it's got some splashes of RGB
around the rings.
Right. So you've got the RGB ring light built into the front of it. It's got 10 hours of battery life. It's got Mystic RGB on the sides of it. It has Core Boost for overclocking of your sensor and your processing. It has M.2 slots for storage. 240 hertz G-Sync panel on the back, because why not?
Why not? Because you need it.
But I love the concept. If this was absolutely a real product, I would probably get one.
That's your handheld gaming device now.
Right. I love that they put a joystick on the back of it. I mean, it was well thought out, well executed.
That's one of those like, yeah, honey, I got it. Click, click.
Yeah.
No.
At your daughter's ballet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Good job, honey.
Yeah. Daddy loves you.
Daddy loves you.
Exactly.
Damn it, no. I shot first. I swear I did.
I know I got that shot. Are you okay?
That's just, I missed the shot.
Yeah. Exactly. There was Hyperdoc, which always they come out with some pretty fantastic products. If you're an Apple fan in the audience, you might have seen some of their laptop docking stations in the past. They have some vertical docks for their MacBook Pros and MacBook Airs that have been very popular. And they do. They used to do port expansion where they would plug into the mini display port and a couple USB ports, and then they'd break out from those. So you'd get Gigabit Ethernet and a couple other things. Once Apple went to USB-C, they started doing some port expansion just off the Thunderbolt. So you'd get a whole range of plugins. Well, they built one dock to rule them all.
Yes.
This is the mother of all USB-C hubs. And as you can see, there are 9 USB 3.0s, a couple of 2.0s on the back. Or no, that's FireWire on the back. There's a USB 2.0 type B port. There's a SCART for an output. There's 2 VGAs and a DVI along with your HDMI mini display port. There's 3 USB-C pass-throughs. There's a couple of micro SD card readers. There's a compact flash reader. And if you scroll down, the other side is even better. Keep going. Because there's a 3.5-inch floppy drive.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And 3 more USB 2.0 ports on the other side. You've got your PS2 for your keyboard and mouse. You've got your composite outputs for your old CRT TVs.
Yes.
Literally the one dock to rule them all.
I will admit, when I first saw the first picture, I was like, yeah, I could see Apple.
I could see it.
I could see that.
I could totally see it.
Like, oh yeah, that's a real product.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt that.
Yep.
I was like, oh, that's what they forgot to announce at their meeting. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. And then last but not least, we had one more.
Oh, this one was kind of funny.
Yeah. We can't play too much of this one either. Maybe go to the middle, try to find some of the UI. Yeah, there you go. Unfortunately, this one only exists on YouTube again. But this is the Corsair Game Launcher. So are you tired of having all of your games in separate launchers from separate app stores? What if we could consolidate all those launchers into one unified launcher?
Yes.
Well, introducing the Corsair Game Launcher. By the way, it consolidated your purchases for you and kept track of your accounting for all of your different app stores. It displayed all of your games in there. By hitting Shift Tab, you brought up all 15 of your friends list at the same time, so you could chat with all 15 in game. There was a quick button to buy the game on all platforms, so you could play with all of your friends.
Yes. No, this was funny just because everyone's coming out with a game launcher.
Yeah.
This just was like, I thought that was brilliant. Brilliant on the idea of just
hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, exactly. That was actually, I think, the cleverest of all of them.
Yeah. Yep. Boy, and we'll get into game launcher talk a little bit later on. We'll say store exclusivities. That's later on in our notes, but yeah, Corsair. Well done. Well done. All right. I'm trying.
I know. I was about to say.
I know you're trying to get through this one.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
I just don't know what's gonna wash the palate.
Yeah.
After this.
Yeah.
And what's really bad is as you drink it, it dries your mouth out.
It does.
And this is not requenching, nice glands or anything. You talk more than I do. I'm more like,
I feel it. I definitely feel it. Oh, that was too big of a drink.
Yeah.
Oh!
It's right here. It's all drying out.
Yep. Oh! Wow. We're going to finish it.
Well, we will. It's not like Jeff's Bud Light.
What?
Yes, it's an amber Bud Light.
It was totally a Bud Light. That golden amber color they're famous for.
Yeah,
and
that gold.
Thick, meaty head on it.
Yes, exactly. That just stayed there. Mm-hmm.
You saw me open the beer.
Yeah.
You watched it happen.
That's a nice cut right after that, too.
There wasn't a cut. It was a seamless scene. You watched it happen. You heard it happen, and I immediately took a drink of it, too. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. 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 I did. There was maybe a little camera magic in there. Yep. Skull says, in my defense, he said he liked sours.
What? I have great sours to send you. You said you didn't want any.
No, you said you liked sours,
I do.
So he sent you a sour.
I don't know, yeah.
In Skull's defense. That's what he was saying.
Oh, okay.
In my defense, it's, yeah.
No, I'm enjoying the beer.
Yeah.
It's just
too much. It's too much.
It's a bit much.
Yeah.
I know, I like sours. It's just, it is. Like Jeff said, I probably wouldn't have all of this if it was a hot summer day and I got to lounge out in my yard for 45 minutes.
Right. A bottle this size, if there were 4 of us, perfect.
That's perfect. Yeah, me, you, Steve, Rhett.
Right.
You know, maybe Rhett probably wouldn't have that much of this. I don't think he likes sours.
No, he doesn't.
But, you know, Rhett can have his Rainier. Yeah, we could easily have this and be like, oh, okay, I appreciate it. I enjoy it. There are good qualities of this beer.
It's just trying to get through this beer in the time that we have. It's been 30 minutes.
Yes.
And we haven't finished a pint yet.
No. And like we usually get from the intro, beer topics, or beer news.
Usually around 8:25 we're opening a second
and then
beer.
we're opening up a second one to go into tech. We're still here.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So it's not bad. I don't want anyone to think it's bad. It's just heavy. And it's heavy for a sour.
Yeah.
It's not the alcohol. It's not the flavor that's off-putting. It's the sour bite that I'm having a hard time getting through. Yes. Get anything else off of it?
No, I'm trying to. I guess I kind of understand the pillowiness.
Boy, I don't. It's a pillow with a couple needles in it. Is what it is.
Maybe it's just all my backwash finally getting to the bottom. I was like, oh, it's smoothing out.
Nope. Nope. Still biting. Still biting. All right, let's get into our first tech story. Actual tech story. No longer in April Fool's news.
So this is real.
Yes, this one's real. This one's kind of exciting for the data center. So actually, if you want to jump forward one tab and then we'll jump back. Did that one not load? Oh, shoot.
No.
It's interesting.
I don't even have an address.
Did I go one tab further forward? Okay, I put an extra tab in the middle of it.
So do you want to do this one?
Yep, that's the one. All right. So Intel yesterday, not April 1st, so April 2nd, announced their second generation of their scalable processors. So this is what's known as Cascade Lake.
Yeah.
Now, this is for the, the 3472. I always forget the name of the socket because it's getting ridiculous at this point.
They constantly rename a bunch of crap.
Right. So this is Intel's server socket, which kind of looks like a Threadripper. I will say. It looks like they glued two.
It looks like two spots.
Just saying.
There's a nice seam in that
just
center.
Saying. It looks like
here.
It looks like it's kind of glued together.
You know, a little off-putting, a little offset.
Yeah. That's not a real processor. Anyway, so Intel announced their second generation scalable CPUs. Up to 56 cores now, doubling their previous core count from the 8180 of 28 cores, 56 threads, up to 56 cores, 112 threads. However, that 56 core processor is a BGA only processor. BGA means it's a ball grid array, which means it's a soldered processor. Now, that CPU has a 400 watt TDP, and Intel is the one that's going to determine all of the motherboard specifications for that. So what they're going to do is sell that processor over to OEMs who want to build like 2U blade servers or something like that. So they can put 4 of these units into a single 2U server and end up with, what is that? 224?
Yeah, 24.
224 cores and 448 threads. There we go. Quick math for us.
There you go.
448 threads in a 2U box, all x86, turboing up to, I think it was 3.2, 3.6, something like that. Anyway.
Yeah.
A lot of speed.
A lot, yeah. That's a nice looking processor.
Yeah. There's a price list if you go a little further down, John.
There we go. right? Nope.
No.
No.
Oh no, it was on the. Yeah, this is the Nantucket. Oh, further down, right there. Nope, one more. There you go. So the 9282 is the 56 core, 112 thread, 2.6 turbo to 3.8, 40 or 400 watts TDP. Price is an arm. The 9242 costs a leg, the 9222 costs a foot, and the 9221 costs a kidney.
That's nothing to pay.
That's right.
Wait, are you sure this wasn't released April 1st?
I'm positive. No, that's just the way Anantech put it, because we know they're going to be expensive.
Yeah.
We know these are going to be ungodly expensive. Because we know the 8280, which is the top-level socketed processor, is going to top out at 28 cores, 56 threads. And it's going to cost, in the 8280L variant, I believe, $17,900.
Oh my god.
Upping from $10,000 from the 8180, which was their 28-core beast before. So what does your extra $8,000 get you? I'm glad you asked. John, click over to the first tab, so two to the left. There you go. So Intel also announced, alongside Cascade Lake processors, they announced persistent memory DIMMs using Optane. So this is a DDR4 DIMM, ECC registered, with encryption built in as well, so you can encrypt all the data on this through hardware. That is standard DDR4, as long as you have a compatible CPU, which this will work on pretty much all of the Cascade Lake CPUs down to the, trying to remember what range, the Pentium Gold range, or the scalable Gold range. They renamed their processors. Instead of E3, E5, E7, it's now gold, silver, platinum.
Oh, yeah, it's gold, silver, bronze, whatever,
yeah. So platinum is the top. That's the 8280 Platinum L or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I think actually it is in this article.
Right. But DDR4 module plugs into a standard DDR4 DIMM, as long as you have a compatible board. Capacity starting at 128 gigabytes.
Yes. That's the cool part.
Up to 512 gigabytes of persistent DDR4. Now, this is using what's called non-volatile memory. Now, if you don't know what that means, volatile memory is what RAM is. When you cut power from it, your RAM forgets everything. All of its binaries go back to zero. It's only when you start up the computer and you start putting addresses or memory bits into the addresses that it can store those things. And it can store them as long as it has power. Once you cut power, we're back to zero. What non-volatile memory is like your solid-state drive, where it doesn't need power to remember what it has. So this is going to be Optane technology, Optane storage technology in a DDR form factor. Huge implications for the data center. I'm drooling over this from like a database junkie.
Well, yeah, especially at the 512 gigabit range.
So how long does it take you to reload your largest database?
That one...
So if you have to do like a cold reboot.
Cold reboot? About 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. This is saying it can take 40-minute cold reboots and do it in 40 seconds. Because the data is already preloaded. All it has to do is check it against its storage. And by the way, its storage is local to the CPU now.
Yeah. That's sick.
Yeah.
Yes, but what's the price on this?
Lower than DRAM. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah.
Why didn't they lead with this?
Because, because non-volatile memory is less expensive than volatile memory. And NAND flash is cheaper than DRAM flash. And so this is not going to be as fast as DRAM. You're not going to get the same bandwidth, and you're certainly not going to get the same latency. So when you're talking about CAS latency on your DRAM speeds, this is going to well exceed that. Now, the Optane modules will not work in a computer without a DRAM module present. So you have to have a traditional DDR4 memory in a memory channel, and then you can put Optane next to it. And you have to have at least one channel of DRAM memory.
Yeah, didn't it say it can only take up to 2 channels and that's it?
No, it'll do 6 channels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought the article said 2. Okay.
That was talking about the number of available slots. And we'll get in. It was trying to figure out the capacities, because the capacities on their things no longer made sense. They went from 768 minimum to 1.5, and then they have an extended one, which is a 2 terabyte max. But the 2 terabyte max doesn't make sense because you can't divide that by 6. And you have 6 RAM channels, so you're going to double up a RAM channel or not double up RAM channels, or you're going to... Or if you had a board that was designed for one of your 2 terabyte boards, now you're going to have 8 DIMM slots for 6 memory channels. And so what do you do there?
Yeah.
Right. So that was that conversation. 1 petabyte of DRAM, please. Actually, they're getting to the point where it's kind of conceivable to have petabytes of DRAM storage via Optane in a single rack. I'm not saying a single U. I'm saying a single rack.
Yeah.
A couple of donations. William, $1, and Philip, $1. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Cheers to you. So anyway, the way... Oh, figures. The way this works is
cheers.
you populate at least one channel with traditional DDR4, and in this case would be ECC registered. And that acts as basically a flash buffer or a flash cache against your Optane-based DRAM. So that you can get your low latency DRAM, and then that can write back or read back from the Optane behind it. Now, the Optane DIMMs can work in 2 different modes. They can work in DRAM mode. So let's say I just need a ton of memory access.
Yeah.
And I don't care about the speed or the latency. I just need everything to be held in memory and accessible directly to the CPU.
Yeah.
You can run this like traditional 6-channel DDR4, obviously higher latency, and there's some penalties to doing this. But we just went from 768 gigabytes of RAM per socket up to 4.5 terabytes per socket because of this increase. You can also run this in storage mode. You can run this directly like local storage. So imagine a FreeNAS server where you have to have readily available storage, high availability storage. You can replicate your like 4.5 terabytes per socket across multiple servers, multiple instances, and have them read and write to each other.
That's
And hold all of your data in active memory. And so if you're talking about SSD latency versus Optane latency, Optane's still going to be faster.
Oh, yeah.
So if you just need 4.5 terabytes of, I need this data available now. This is your solution.
Yes.
So very cool. And $1 from Tom. Thank you so much, Tom. Cheers to you as well. John's out of beer, otherwise he'd cheers. There you go. So anyway, I'm both disappointed by Intel's announcement and I'm very encouraged by Intel's announcement because on the CPU side of things, it's another 14 nanometer processor. You didn't give me anything groundbreaking. Yeah, you added a couple more cores to your base models across the board. You added a couple hundred megahertz across the board, just like you're doing with consumer chips.
And you know it's going to be an arm and a leg and a kidney.
And now they're costing more.
Yeah.
You went from $10,000 for an 8180 Platinum to $18,000 for an 8280 Platinum L, which is the extended memory channel. And by the way, your SKUs are all out of whack now because now you have 5 or 6 different SKUs for single part numbers. So you have the 8280, you have the 8280
X, isn't it?
X, you have an 8280L, you have an 8280E.
Yeah.
Or it was E for extended.
Yeah.
Because there's 1.5 terabyte standard, there's E for extended or B for extended or something like that. And that was a 2 terabyte memory max. And then you have the L, which is the large memory pool, which gets you up to 4.5, which can take 1.5 terabytes of DRAM and 3 terabytes of Optane. So it's weird. We'll see what happens eventually, but and it's still 14 nanometer, and you're not gaining any efficiency, and you're not doing anything that's like wowing me on the CPU side.
It's all soldered.
No, only the 56 core. They only had 4 embedded chips.
Okay.
The rest of them were socketed.
Oh, okay.
They were the.
I thought they were all soldered.
34, 78, whatever.
When I read it out, for some reason I thought it was all soldered.
Yeah, no. Only the 4 SKUs were soldered.
Okay.
Let's see. Romnipotent, $2. So 4.5 terabyte game drive on RAM. Yeah, basically that's 4.5 terabytes on a RAM disk. So yeah.
Just have your game right on your RAM.
Patrick, $2. Drink your beer. Your co-host is parched.
Thank you.
Looking out for you, John. All right. I'll finish it.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a while. This is gonna take a bit for Jeff. It is a bit tart.
All right.
Good thing we started with this, though.
Yes. I'm kind of afraid I'm not going to be able to taste the other ones now.
Well, we have the Horny Goat.
Yeah, I figured we kind of crack these open. I've got some taster glasses.
There we go.
And we can, I'll try half of one and then open the next one and go from there.
Wait, was it? This is the one with the weird font.
Yeah, that's the one with the weird font. That's the cold press beer. That's the
Yes.
coffee beer. You know what? Coffee might kill this.
It's a stupid font.
It is a you can't read the damn thing. It's not possible.
This is they basically had like Windows 98.
It's like a crappy version of Comic Sans.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like Comic Sans with whatever that handwriting script is, that old English script.
Mm-hmm. Everything, and then they seem to mash it. All right. So what do you want? You want the salted porter or salted
Let's
brown
go with the
ale?
coffee.
The coffee.
Because I'm guessing this is going to be slightly bitter, so maybe that'll help kind of kill some of the sourness.
All right.
Darker than I expected, because the cold brew from Rogue is actually a lighter ale. All right.
Look at that.
Pretty
That's
good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
No foam. You actually technically got more, but it's fine. Well, I mean, a stout is an ale, so
Yeah.
you can call it an ale.
That's right. It's under 8%, so it's still an ale. Although that... You went over the differences.
Well, an ale.
I
yeah.
watched the video.
Yeah, if you would like to know the difference between an ale or anything else, check out my channel. I got videos on it.
You know what? You should actually go to John's channel anyway and subscribe to John's channel.
should.
Hops and Brews on YouTube. Fantastic reference for beer reviews, learning about beers,
Yes.
learning about how to serve beer. He really does know his stuff. He actually ran a bar for a couple of years. So
It's actually where Jeff started his channel.
that's right.
If you go take a look at the first two.
Don't look at the early episodes.
No,
Oh,
what are you
God.
talking about? Those are
They're terrible.
Some of your best work is done.
The first 4 videos, I believe, are filmed upstairs of John's bar.
Yeah.
I rented some studio space from him, and I'm very firmly in the belief of you can't make a good video until you make a bad video, and those early videos were bad videos.
I remember when you first posted, and you were like, "I made a really good one. People liked it. I got 5,000 views in a week."
That's pretty darn
It
good
was
for coming
really-
out of nowhere.
No, it was because it was like your very first video. Mm-hmm. This actually isn't bad. Mm-hmm. No, this beer right here isn't too bad.
Yeah,
You get coffee notes.
you do.
It tastes more like a coffee porter.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee ale fermented.
And it's a dark ale, which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
When I heard cold press, I was expecting like the Rogue, which is actually a nice light bodied beer.
Yeah, the Rogue cold press ale is pretty light, easy,
Yeah.
but you get a lot of coffee.
You get a lot of coffee, but it hits you off guard because it looks like an IPA.
Yes.
Actually, it's closer to a Pilsner. It's a very clear
It's
beer.
a very clear.
Yeah.
And that's what most people get surprised. It's one of the nicer Rogue beers.
Yes.
So, but this tastes like a really nice coffee porter.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too thick, bit thinner side, but not super thin.
Boy, this is a great dessert beer. This is something I'd like to have like a hunk of coffee cake with me.
I could see some coffee.
Yeah.
The brown sugar and nuts could really
Yeah.
complement this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is good. I am
Some
digging that.
allspice.
Um,
this would actually be pretty good if they added all those flavors. To
Yeah.
this.
Actually, I'm not missing them. A couple of drinks into this, my first drink, and I think it was tainted by the sour, was that's definitely not a coffee taste I'm liking. It's kind of weird, kind of some weird flavors in there. I take a couple more drinks, and I'm like, that is a solid black coffee, just straight up coffee. Very, very good. Convinced John to bring the Elijah Craig Bourbon County. You got an Elijah Craig Bourbon?
Yeah. Skull said Skull and I traded for that.
Thank you, Skull, for letting me know.
No, screw you, man.
Thank you, Skull. I appreciate you.
He wasn't actually supposed to send that one, but I actually went
Skull.
to the pin.
Pin the comment.
I actually had to go to the beer
If you want to bring that one over, I'll film your video in 4K for you.
Yeah, you have no idea how expensive. For Skull,
I
it's probably
do know
like
how expensive
cheap,
that
but
one is.
It's a 12-year-old Elijah Craig.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah.
I know which one it is because Elijah is one of my favorite bourbons
Exactly.
of all time.
So I was just like, oh. That's one of the beers of like, I have to have a lot of people over because they're all going to want to try it.
Yep. Bring them over here. We'll film in 4K. It'll be your best looking video ever.
Oh, yeah, it probably would be.
Yeah, it would be.
What's that one lens where you're able to like get the focus?
Oh, my 15 mil.
Yeah, your 15 mil. That thing's sick.
My Laowa Super Macro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, we can go back to some news, right?
Yep.
Enough about my Elijah Craig beer.
Hold on. Sorry. Kraft started watching your Home Lab series when I was in the help desk a few months ago. Helped me get a junior sysadmin job. Freaking fantastic, man. Way to go.
Part of your paycheck now goes to Jeff. Mm-hmm. But you know how you can do that is actually subscribe to Jeff's Patreon.
That's right.
And it's only $1 a month, and you get access to myself, Jeff, Steve, Rhett, and a bunch of other people that are just a fantastic community. We talk a lot about tech, movies, our favorite beverages, not necessarily beer, but food, beer, movies, tech, music, we cars. We have meme wars all the time, so we got a lot of really good channels on there, little really good chat. Almost anyone's on there 24 hours a day.
Yep.
Literally, it's just $1 a month. And on top of that, you get access to a lot of, like, Jeff will be, hey, this is what I'm working on, sneak peek of this. Early access to that. You get to see, especially all of my videos. And Hops and Brews.
That's right. Let's see. Nice Bryce. Your content is seriously always enjoyable, and the guys are super cool too. I'm designing a 4.5 liter small form factor case and want to post it in the Discord. Not sure what room is best for that. That'd be engineering. At the moment, what's funny is most of our chat is not PC related. All the rooms are Star Trek themed, but we have a sports talk. We have a beer and food talk at 10 forward. We've got a movie talk. We've got music. We've got gaming. We've got crap posting. And then we have Shuttle Bay for cars. And then we have engineering, which is basically anything that's like PC or Maker or CAD related. Yeah. If Maker gets bigger, I'll probably section that off into engineering, and then Computer Core will become computing talk, PC talk. And then we have a buy-sell trade.
Yeah, buy-sell trade. We have the exclusive Talking Heads, where everyone goes during Talking Heads and talks around there. And then there's just your standard tech chit-chat. Hey, I'm talking about this, and I just want to throw this up to the big group. The talking or the craft computing main group, where most people do hang out for just random, hey, I like this show, welcome, blah, 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 blah. Yep. It's fantastic, though. We cannot stress enough how much someone's always on.
Yeah. Not a lot of us sleep, myself definitely included.
Yeah. No, we're usually on it. It's usually we just, as I film like some of my videos, if you've seen Jeff's show, Steve will be guest starring on mine, and our phones will just be going off, bing, bing, bing. And because we never turn our notifications off, it's all Discord.
Yep. Yeah, I'm digging that. The more I have
it's really nice,
It's growing on me really quick.
It is a really nice coffee beer.
Yeah. But
this is actually, if you ever aspire to be like a home brewer and you're wanting to make this, if you could make this is a perfect example of a dark coffee beer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's really nothing wrong with it. And it's got a great ABV, 6%. Yep. So you're right in that good... I could probably have two pints and be really happy with myself. Yep. Tastes really good.
Fantastic. All right. Intel. Really kind of about your CPU release. Really am. I was wanting more, but I also know the limitations you're facing trying to get down to 10 or 7 nanometer. But you're not wowing me for CPUs right now. You're just not. It's much of the same, and especially with AMD with Epic kind of knocking at your heels. Oh, by the way, that page is real. Leave that there. We'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
Yeah, John was bringing up the next story, and there's been some development to it. But you're just not wowing me for CPUs, and I've got AMD that's going, we're bringing 7 nanometer to the data center, and I'm going. So. Yeah, but the Optane news, that is a massive announcement.
That's big.
And that might be a differentiating factor for a number of people in data centers to keep Intel in their data centers. Like I said, especially with AMD kind of knocking on their heels. That is a huge announcement. That is a huge amount of RAM capacity at the expense of some latency and of some DRAM speed. But again, if you can quadruple your RAM footprint in your data center, you don't care about a couple milliseconds of lost latency.
No.
You really don't. So,
because most of the time you really don't even notice it anyway.
Right.
For larger companies.
Right.
It's just...
Yeah, I mean, if you have redundant SQL databases fired up and whatnot, and a cold boot takes you 3 hours to rebuild a database, which is the case with some larger databases sometimes.
Imagine doing that in 30 seconds.
Yeah, or like 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what this does. This is a game changer for large data format and memory dependent applications. This just quadrupled their capacity without the sacrifice of very much speed.
Well, I kind of almost wonder if this is Intel's that was their ace in their hole. We're holding on to this instead.
And they might have been for the data center.
And now this is the data. That's where a lot of money though for Intel is. You got it.
But the thing is, trickle down effect.
Yes.
This is going to be out in the consumer level within a year or two. So keep an eye on it. This is a technology to watch for. Especially if you're like content creator, if you're like a video editor or 4K editor. My Threadripper eats RAM for breakfast when I'm trying to do editing.
No, this would be really good for video editing.
And I don't do complex edits.
No.
Right.
Yeah. So this would be really good. I'd be really surprised if studios in Hollywood or wherever they start using this.
Right. You get an X299 board and you put 4 DIMMs of 512 gig for DRAM storage.
Yeah.
And then you get another 4 128 or even 64 gig DIMMs for fast access memory.
Yeah.
And you cache all of your stuff in memory when you're dealing with Photoshop. You get instant timeline scrubbing because you're not having to read it off a scratch disk somewhere.
Now, they didn't talk about price on any of this.
They didn't announce prices for the DRAM, but it said it is going to be competitive with current storage options. So if you're talking storage options, you're talking like $80 to $130 for a 512. I mean, we're not
that's
massively priced here.
Literally pennies compared to the processors.
Right, and pennies compared to what the DRAM cost is right now. Because a 128 gig DIMM of DRAM will cost you at least $400, at least for like one DIMM. So think about getting 512 gigs for 170, 100, even if it's 200, even if it's 250. That's a screaming freaking deal compared to what it is today. So this is really kind of a game-changing announcement and something that I'm very excited to see trickle down within the next year to 18 months. So that's it for that. What do we have next? Oh, that's right. AMD X570 boards have not been seen in the wild, but they have shown up on a benchmark site. At least they did as of yesterday evening, and the benchmarks were pulled when I pulled up the article this afternoon.
I know. I was like, wait, I don't see anything for me to read, Jeff.
Yep. So there were 2 listings here of an Asus X570 motherboard, unreleased chipset, with an unknown 4-core 8-threaded Ryzen processor at 3.8 gigahertz. That was in my notes. It was right there.
You should have done a screenshot.
I should have screenshotted it. Usually I screenshot rumor news or like leak news or things like that. So if it goes dark before the show,
you got it.
I've got it. I didn't do it in this case. And in this case, no, it's not there anymore. But anyway, X570 demo boards or prototype or engineering sample boards have now been seen in the wild on benchmark websites. So we know Zen 2 is coming. Yes. We know it's coming at Computex. And the reason we know that is Lisa Su was just announced as the keynote speaker at Computex.
Yeah. Obviously something's going on.
Obviously something big's going on. There is, where there's smoke, there's fire. And there's some pretty thick smoke in we know Zen 2 is going to be announced. And probably released within a couple of weeks of Computex. We know that because they said late Q2, early Q3, which puts us right like that last week of June, first week of July kind of context. We know that's coming, so early June, late May makes sense for a Zen 2 announcement. And look, Lisa Sue's giving a keynote at Computex.
Yeah.
Huh.
Why
Interesting.
would she be there?
There is rumor that Navi will also be announced / released at Computex. So 7nm GPUs for the consumer level that are not Vega based. So remember, Radeon 7 is a Vega-based GPU. It's basically a die shrink from the Vega 64, and they doubled up the HBM memory, giving you 16 gigs. Fantastic GPU by its own right at $700, especially for like the content creator realm, for the people who need GRAM quite a bit. But there's rumor that there's going to be 3 different models of the Navi chip coming. There's going to be a Navi 3, a Navi 5, and a Navi 7. That is not in this list, but that is some unsubstantiated rumors that I've heard some other places, but those rumors are kind of gaining fire, so we might talk more about Navi here in the next couple of weeks as things kind of start to materialize. The other thing that's probably going to be announced is I don't think Threadripper 2 is going to be announced because that's usually a fall announcement.
Okay.
So maybe September we might see some Threadripper 2 news, which would be 7nm Threadripper, possibly up to 32 cores.
It's never been talked about before.
Right. Possibly up to 32 cores. Someone said North Coast Rasputin. Yep. That's the other bottle. North Coast Rasputin. So I think they were trying to guess what it was. But possibly 32 core Threadripper. Well, definitely 32 core Threadripper because we already have one. But in the 2990WX. But 7nm Threadripper. I'd say September. I'd say September is when we're going to see that. But possibly some further Epic news as well. So getting into the data center, competing with the data center. 64 cores in the data center on a single die.
No, end of this year, there's going to be AMD is going to just launch, and that's when everyone's going to get their hands on stuff. And there's just going to be a bunch of content of, we got to compare this to Intel now. And that's going to be the videos that we're going to see coming at the end of fall or beginning of in the fall season, essentially, because people are going to get their hands on it early or not early, but whatever. That's essentially what we're going to be seeing, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about. We're probably going to see some leaked articles, whatever. So it's going to be some really fun, exciting, hopefully exciting news.
Yeah, we're only like 2.5 months away. We're like 10 weeks away from a potential Zen 2 launch.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess something like June 20th. That's what I'm going to put my money on. I'm going to say June 20th we have Zen 2 in hand.
It's a Thursday.
It's a Thursday. It's a weird day. But I'm going to say June 20th we have Zen 2 on retail shelves.
On shelves?
On shelves. Not just like an embargo date for benchmarks. I'm saying June 20th we have Zen 2 on a shelf for sale. You can go to Fry's, you can buy one yourself. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay. That's early.
Yep.
That's 2 months.
It's 9 weeks. Yep. That's what I'm saying. 9.5.
Yeah.
But yeah. At the moment, you can pick up in New Zealand a 1950X for $610 US. Yeah, I've seen them down in that range. God, I thought about getting a 1950X for a while, but I am really holding out for Zen 2 in my Threadripper system. So my main video editor rig is a Threadripper 1900X. It's an 8-core 16 thread with 32 gigs of RAM. Really what I would benefit more from is a RAM boost or a RAM speed increase, but I can't seem to get past 3200 in this rig. I could spend some money in the interim and get a 16 core like a 1950X or a 2950X or something like that. But I don't want to spend the money and then in September they go, oh, here's a 32 core 7nm that overclocks to 5 gigahertz and can do 3800 megahertz speed memory
For $589.
for $1,200 or $1,300. I'm not going to spend the money right now. I think it's silly on the workstation side to spend the money right now.
Plus, if it's from Australia, though, the wattage is just going to spin the other way.
Right, yeah. Your electrons go this way instead of this way. It's just weird.
It's weird.
Can I stand on my head and edit Premiere? That's what I want to do.
If you go down to the equator, it's all just straight.
Yeah.
If we go to the 45th parallel, if you just bend it just right, it kind of works.
Oh, I'm liking that. Every time I like stop and think about it.
You know,
It's really good.
I wonder if this is a base for like if they have a barrel aged bourbon or whiskey or something.
Oh, I hope they barrel age this.
This would be a really good barrel aged beer, a barrel aged coffee stout or ale.
Yeah, even like some Evan Williams barrels, this would really smooth out.
Yeah,
like it doesn't even have to be a phenomenal whiskey.
What I like about this is actually, even as it's warming up, it's still really good.
Really good.
It's really good. Actually, it's almost gotten a little better. It's smoother.
Yeah.
The coffee's not as harsh, so it's
a little richer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it almost tastes more like a cold pressed coffee.
Mm-hmm.
So Bent Paddle Brewing.
Yeah.
Good job.
Well done. Yeah, I was a little torn on your last one, and you still need a better freaking font on your cans, because I can't even read the description on it. But very, very pleasant. Yeah, very, very good. All right, I think up next is going to be the Horny Goat Salted Caramel.
You want to just use the same glasses?
We can use the same one. I'm fine with that for this.
All right.
For the old Rasputin, I'm going to want a stout glass.
Oh, yes. It's a bit of a lighter brown.
All right.
What else we got? We got
Apple news.
Yeah.
Couple Apple newses. So first off, we've got Apple cancels AirPower because apparently making a Qi charger is really hard. So you all know I've been pretty anti-Apple lately as far as corporate culture and so full of our own...
Yeah.
Smelling our own farts, so to speak. That they're just souring on me as a company left and right. From a marketing standpoint, look, their marketing has always been strong. It has always been cult-like in their following since the iPod days in 2003.
Basically, when Steve came back.
Basically, when Steve came back and reshaped the company.
Redid what was that Apple monitor computer, whatever it was called.
Yeah, well, the iMac.
Yeah,
announced the iMac, launched the retail stores. That was back in '98 that they did that. But changed their corporate culture. One of the things that Steve did when he came in is he goes, "Why in God's name are you selling a camera? Like you have an Apple digital camera. Why are you doing that?" He goes, "You have like 10,000 SKUs from Apple on your shelves. You can't make 10,000 products well. So tell you what, you're going to make 70."
Yeah.
And he literally like slashed every single product off their shelf. And he goes, "Why are you making printers? Why are you making this? Why are you making that? We're going to sell like 5 desktop computers, only 3 models, but like 7 variants of each one, just spec-wise. We're going to sell 3 monitors. We're going to sell this and we're going to sell that. And we're going to be done because we can make those well. And when we make those well, we can expand to one more product. And then we can do one more product. Then we can do one more. But not until we make that next product well can we do the next product." So that was Steve's whole revamp of Apple. And that's what made them the company they became in mid-2012 when I think they were at their peak. And then they kind of started to fall off in my mind. They're not making any less money, but they've certainly lost a lot of glow in the last 7 years.
Oh my gosh, so much.
And it's they've turned from a company that had a religious-like following and would do anything to please the customer to a company that had a religious-like following but has some of the worst customer service and worst customer focus in the industry.
I wouldn't say they even have a religious. They have the old hippie beatnik following now. Like, yeah, Apple, you gotta buy it.
It's actually a bunch of soccer moms at this point. It's soccer moms and hipsters and things like that.
Yeah.
And not that everyone who uses an iPhone is a soccer mom or a hipster, but they have a following. And once they've established their ecosystem and people are comfortable in their ecosystem, they just kind of live there because there's no reason to switch. And I'll say, from a former Apple guy's perspective, there's not a lot of reason to switch.
No.
as long as you're still happy with the company and the support that they're giving you. Where I turned was I was no longer happy with the support they were giving me.
Well, that was for most people, standard users. They're not wanting that type of support. They're just like, can I make a phone call and can I get a filter picture? Can my picture give me a filter to where I look beautiful and everything like that? If you got that, great. And it syncs up to this new fandangled watchy thing I got.
Boy, that is caramely.
Yeah, it tastes like butterscotch to me.
Yeah.
Butterscotch.
It smells like Werther's Original.
Yes, dude, try it. It tastes like it. But that's how iPhone has always come off to me, as the soccer mom, I'm the elitist. I buy only their products because they're Apple, and the biggest excuse is, well, they all sync together and it's so seamlessly, and that's why I buy it.
And that works for some people.
Yeah.
It totally does. I'm not
really
taking that away from anyone.
No, it really does.
But at the same time, when you start going anti-consumer and you start limiting where I can get my iProducts serviced, and there are some cases in like Washington or Oregon, for instance, you're going to be 300 miles from an Apple store or certified retailer. Oh yeah, just bring your iPhone to an Apple store and they'll swap the battery for you. Okay, the closest one is 300 miles away. Oh, just mail it to us. You don't need your phone for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Really? And that's the problem. But we're getting ahead of ourselves because that's the next conversation. The conversation here is that Apple can't even make a dang wireless charger. So they promised the Air Power Charger, which was a device that would charge up to 3 devices at the same time, using Qi as a wireless standard, so you can charge your Apple Watch and your iPhone and and your AirPods and anything else that you happen to be Qi. Although why would you ever buy anything that wasn't Apple? And everything worked, and everything got their full 15 watt charge speed and whatnot, and everyone was happy. Well, they ran into some problems, and the problems stem from FCC certification. Now, FCC certification is required for all devices. It means you will not interfere with other devices, and if other devices interfere with you, you will not deploy countermeasures, or you will accept that interference. That's the FCC certification. It seems, and Apple isn't being really forthright with this, but it seems that they couldn't pass FCC certification because they were putting too many damn charging coils into a power thing. And Apple's standards for themselves was, we don't want you to like place a device down and have it not charge, and you have to nudge it a little bit and get it to charge. We just want you to go, okay, it's charging.
Yeah.
And then I take my watch off and I go, okay, it's charging. That's what they wanted.
They want it literally anywhere, any angle, whatever.
Right.
That's their standard.
If it's over the top of the charger, it's charging. If it's here, it's charging.
Yeah.
Is what they wanted. What they found was that they needed like 15 power coils inside of this thing to get it. So they were stacking power coils on top of power coils. Now, canceling out one radio wave is pretty simple as far as like interference level for a charging device, wireless device, Qi device, anything like that. Getting that frequency to cancel out and stop and not interfere with other devices, that's pretty simple. When you get a second wireless device in close proximity, it actually amplifies radiant frequencies. And so you have to work that much harder at getting them to cancel out. Well, they stacked 15 of those suckers onto the same charging pad, and then we're really confused as to why it was causing so much interference with nearby devices, like the iPhone that's sitting on top of it. And they were unwilling to compromise with that charging solution. So instead of putting 3 charging coils or 6 charging coils down on a pad, they said, well, you know what? It's not going to work. Cancel it. We're done. We're done. We're not going to make one.
3? No. If we can't do 3, we can't do it. So throw it out.
Yep. We're done. We're done working on it. We don't care anymore.
Nope.
Move on. Yep. But it took them 2 years to reach that point. They announced a modular Mac Pro almost 2 years ago. Do you know what we have today? The 2013 Mac Pro, because that's the last press conference they gave on the Mac Pro. How hard is it to make a modular desktop with PCI slots? Like really?
How many other companies have already done it between that?
Right. Well, we have the iMac Pro, and it's the most advanced workstation. Bullshit. Don't give me that crap. Don't tell me you are the most cutting-edge workstation on the planet in an all-in-one system that is not user-serviceable, that I'm supposed to rely on for professional workflow, that I cannot get service within a 300-mile radius. Tell me that.
Didn't they announce that they are going to also do a...
And yeah, the rant counter's going up.
Didn't they also do a game launcher? The best game launcher.
That's right. Well, they did announce the Apple Arcade, so it's a subscription service,
Yeah.
so you can have your Apple games.
The
That's
greatest
right.
one, too.
That's right.
God, this company is just fantastic.
But yeah.
Everything they do is the best, though.
Like I said, the problem is they started believing their own bull.
Yes, it really is.
It really is.
It came down to, we can do whatever because we're Apple. We'll throw whatever we need to, and it'll become magic because we're Apple. Wait, this doesn't work quite as what we're expecting, what we wanted to tell everyone. Throw it away.
When the iPhone came out, the iPhone was magic. Because it transformed an interface that was broken and janky and not functional. Straight up not functional. I had owned smartphones for 5 years prior to the iPhone being debuted. And when the iPhone debuted, the interface was magic. And
it was simple.
And
simple.
if you think Android invented the market, you are fooling and lying to yourself. Because Apple invented the smartphone. Apple made it a ubiquitous product that anyone could use. That meant the soccer moms can now have smartphones and get online and check their email and text message and do everything they can do in modern society.
They finalized it. They made the mold.
Right.
They didn't create it, but they made the standard.
They created the interface. They dreamed up the interface from the ground up. Because you remember what smartphones were before? Because I do. Because I had an HTC 8150, which was the Windows Mobile slide with the full QWERTY keyboard with Windows Mobile 5.
But I loved that one.
And you loved it.
I loved it.
As someone who's a programmer for a living.
Loved it because I got the program and it was one of the first things
but it was
I got
slow,
to do.
It was janky, it was broken. I couldn't load any website.
No, websites, but I was able to load emulators and ROMs on it.
Right.
That's what I loved about it.
But take it from the normal person's perspective.
I guess.
Going from an 8150 or even a Palm Trio or a BlackBerry or a Samsung Blackjack.
My prior one, the BlackBerry, the web browsing and everything was horrible.
Right. You go from that to the original iPhone. The original iPhone was magic.
Yes.
And that's where they got a lot of their following from. And then the iPad. The iPad was also magic because it took a tablet-sized device which had been tried ad nauseum over the years. Remember the early 2000s HP tablets?
Yes.
That you required an active stylus and just ran Windows XP.
I had one for high school.
I had one as well. I had a couple of them. And remember the mobile remember this was also during the netbook craze.
Yes.
That the iPad came out. The iPad was magic because it transformed something you couldn't do before into something you could do into a form factor you liked.
Yeah.
And even the MacBook Pros were magic because they were thinner and more durable and faster and better than everything else on the market when they came out. The problem is Apple stopped being magic and started believing that they were magic. And when you do that as a company and you stop listening to what your customers actually need or defining the market that your customers actually need to follow, a la the iPod, a la the iPhone, the iPad, the MacBook.
Yeah.
When you stop giving them what they want and you start saying, we're a professional and creative driven company, and you're not looking at what professionals and creatives need, you've lost your marketplace.
Yeah, it really...
Now, they make money on the iPhone. I don't discredit them at all.
And they're probably making money on a lot of things, but it does seem like they're more now a stylistic company. Mm-hmm. They're more of a trend... What's the latest trend? It's not what do people want. It's what do people feel like, and what's the colors and shapes, and what's this season's going to be. No. You need to be the innovator. You need to be the person that pushes the envelope of the consumer is gonna need this, and we needed to make it easily accessible for them.
Apple, I want you to think different again.
Yes, that's a good way.
Yeah. That's the long and short of it. I want you to think different again.
You need to be the Pixar. Because Steve Jobs.
You're not that clever. But anyway, just make a Qi charger and make the best damn Qi charger you can. And don't make the magical Qi charger that's still floating around in your head if you can't do it. Make us a Qi charger that does charge all my devices. Maybe make a cradle for them so my iPhone.
So I have to just put it within these boundaries. Say, here are the 2 lines. You have to put just any device between these 2 lines.
Well, even not even that. Give me like a cradle that's designed for the 3 devices I have. So here's my AirPods, here's my Apple Watch, and here's my iPhone. And if I have a smaller model iPhone, you include a little thing that's magnetic that holds to there, and so all your devices are automatically lined up. That is a magical device because I don't have to worry about it. All I have to do is go like that.
Well, I think they're thinking 2 phones.
But if you place magnets in your devices that go and all of a sudden you're lined up, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
I don't need it to be a magical device where it's like, it's charging.
Check it out, guys.
Yeah.
1%. 2%.
Right. I don't need that. What I need it to do is work. That's all I need. I don't need it to be magic. I just need it to work. And what you did before was you made it work, and it seemed like magic, and that's where the magic was at.
Sometimes the simplest
things
are magical.
This was a long, drawn-out conversation / rant that was not intended.
But that's the thing, though. Even as like a programmer, and I make a feature, I sit there and I build this complicated search algorithm. Like, you could do this, drag this here, right click here, and it does. You can filter whatever you want. And they're more amazed, like, oh, wow, this single button does this one little feature.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. It's this simplistic thing.
I can make my text pink?
Yes. Stupid. I have a skin changer. And they're like, oh, snowmen and hearts. And I was like,
it looks like Winamp.
Yes, exactly. Oh, yeah, I do. I
know you do.
Ultra contrast.
Kicks the llama's ass. Yeah. So yeah, just make it work. But speaking of Apple and customer service, we've ranted on Apple a couple times about right to repair. Yep. And this next one is very serious because we talked last week about the state of California introducing legislation for right to repair for the state of California, which Apple would then be forced to follow to do business within the state. And that's a pretty big demographic to be able to hit.
Big one.
Yeah, you need to be able to keep selling in Santa Clara and Cupertino if you want to do business in the rest of the United States. Yeah. It just kind of works that way.
If you're a tech company.
Right. So this is an article that I found very interesting because...
Was this... I don't think this was up during the notes.
It wasn't.
That's right.
It wasn't.
Okay.
This is an article that I found very interesting because like I said, we've talked and ranted about right to repair quite a few times on the 76 episodes of this show.
That was for about a year now.
Right. Because it is important for consumer rights and it is important for the longevity of your devices and you being able to not just like throw something away because your battery doesn't work anymore. No. Or I dropped my iPhone and I broke a screen. I'm still under
chip on the corner.
I still have to pay for this device for 2 years, and Apple wants to charge me $799 for a new screen when we know that's bull.
Yeah.
It's you being able to work on your John Deere tractor and being able to harvest your crops when your GPS goes wonky.
But no, you got to use their service guy. Their certified service guy.
It's being able to go down to local tire shop and put new tires on your BMW that are OEM spec. That aren't what BMW sells you.
Yeah.
It's that kind of right that you have as a consumer. This right here is a leaked internal document from Apple that goes over how they would handle right to repair legislation. And it is quite interesting because they have listed here basically internal staff training for how they would handle devices coming in or people wanting to come in and buy parts.
So essentially...
right?
So they have a handbook of how to do it.
They've already written the handbook. It's ready to roll. So they have... You can purchase Apple genuine parts. You can purchase out of warranty, or you can have them repair out of warranty. Display, battery, speaker, receiver, camera, motherboard... anything you need, you can say, hey, my phone doesn't work, make it work again. And the Apple tech would go, okay, you need a new logic board and you need a new camera. And you go, okay, how much is that? And they'd say $250. And you go, okay.
Yeah.
Done. Because right now, that really doesn't exist.
No, they charge you what? Probably about $14.
More than buying a refurbished phone.
Yeah, probably about $1,400.
Right. But the thing is, Apple, for a certain time period after releasing a product, would be required to stock replacement parts and make replacement parts available to both third-party retailers and refurbishers and the general public to repair your own phones. Which means, all of a sudden, that logic board that costs you, $700 today, that'd be $129 at your local repair store.
Yeah. And
they could do it in the mall kiosk while you wait. Now, they can do that with screens right now, but those are typically refurbished Chinese import.
Yeah.
And they do a phenomenal job using OEM parts, but they have to desolder the screens and resolder new cables on and do all this other refurbishing.
Don't tell the Apple Store you did that.
Don't tell the Apple Store you did that. Certainly don't tell them that you put a third-party battery in because you'll burn half the building down. But Apple would have to make parts available. And they would have to allow the use of third-party parts in their devices as well. And there's provisions for all of this. There's also notes in here that say you can get your phone repaired at an Apple store or an Apple repair center. And there's 3,700 Apple authorized service providers around the world. And photos show pictures of 4 repair chains: Mobile Kangaroo based in California, AA Mac based in the UK, Simply Mac based in Salt Lake City, Utah, and Makina Technologies based in Dubai. So they already know who their repair channel would be. Yeah. They already know where they would sell parts to. They already have a channel established to be able to sell these parts. But legislation is being needed to force them to do that. And this is your right as a consumer to support these actions. Because you win in the end. You really do.
Yeah. If you live in LA or California or one of these states that are trying to pass these laws, really talk to your congressman, talk to your lawmakers, call them up, give them your support saying you want this. You want the right to repair. This is just proof that companies do know this is happening, that they do know they're screwing the consumers over, and it's only a matter of time before they have to go back.
Right.
And they're prepping for it. And they're like, oh, okay, here we go. We already know what we're going to do. But how much money can we squeeze out of the consumer in the meantime? And once this does pass, because it looks like a good probability it's going to pass.
Yes.
That, oh, look, we're already prepped for it. We're the nice guys. We prepped for it. We're good to go. We rolled out. And look how easy it was for us. And look at our competitors who... For all we know, we don't know if they're ready.
Samsung already offers all their parts on their website. You can buy them direct as long as you have a part number. I'm just saying. Just saying.
So,
someone said rant counter 6. That's 4 at best. That's 4 at best.
Yeah, because you got to remember that first one. There was a long
rant in there, but it was 4 at best.
It might have been a 2-parter, but you could still count it. You could do the argument of it's a 1 or 2. You know.
Yep.
Is that 2 Star Trek episodes, or is it really technically 1 Star Trek episode? Who really knows?
Ooh.
I threw Star Trek in there.
Ooh. Don't take the bait, Jeff. Don't take it. Don't take it. Valve Index. Valve's new VR headset. Launching potentially May 22nd.
Oh, how many headsets is that?
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. Because remember, Oculus is potentially coming out May 1st.
Yep.
There's a lot of rumors that...
and that was a, 4K?
No, it was 1600p or something like that.
I thought it was
slightly improved.
Yeah.
Slightly improved over the base Oculus, which is 1440.
I thought it was a 2K.
Yeah.
Or 4K. Anyways. So.
Valve Index potentially coming. Now, what this looks like is very, very spec for spec... potentially like a Vive Pro, but made by Valve at a lower price. Which I'm not complaining about.
No.
The Vive Pro is amazing. It's just way overpriced at $1,300. Or $800 for headset only, or whatever you can possibly buy it at. We do know there's going to be IPD adjustment, and we do know there's going to be some kind of button on top with at least 2 cameras. That's what we know.
Because this is a rumor.
Right. We do not know if what kind of tracking it's going to have. We do know it's going to have up to 135 degrees of field of view.
That's really good.
which doesn't quite put it in Pimax territory, but it's certainly above the 110 degree field of view of the Oculus and the 105 degree field of view of the Vive.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the VR knuckles should be announced, which we got to kind of play with at CES in the Pimax booth. We got to try Pimax iteration of the knuckle controllers. This announcement should also come with the Valve knuckles, which have been highly anticipated for individual finger tracking and being able to let go of your controller in space and then re-grab something, and all the tracking that comes with that. Now, again, we don't know what tracking system they're going to be using, if this is going to be inside-out tracking or if this is going to use Vive base stations. We're assuming the Vive 2.0 base stations.
It's got those cameras, so it kind of might be...
Well, it's got the cameras, which could...
Might be a little bit of both.
Might be a little bit of both, but... We do know that the Vive 2.0 base stations are coming. We do know that they allow much wider range of tracking, much more accurate tracking. And I don't see them all of a sudden switching gears in the last 4 months and going, oh, we're just going to do inside out instead.
You know what would be really cool is if they kind of came up with a hybrid of, yes, if you'd like, this also provides a somewhat inside out tracking for your portability options. Mm-hmm. But if not, hey, we got the Valve set up, and you can have a much more interactive, complete setup.
Totally true.
That would be sweet.
Could do both.
Yes.
It could totally do both. Unsubstantiated rumor that you heard here first on Craft Computing. So yeah, I'm excited for the controllers more than anything else. The Vive controllers are a little bit uncomfortable. They're not overly intuitive, and the trackpad certainly has some issues, we'll say. But being able to let go of the controller and re-grab something, or like reach around your back and like pull out a sword and just have it be just a gripping motion, that would be huge. And it really is going to introduce some new options for VR gameplay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was just gripping a gun or any object, right. But instead of just because you're essentially just doing this when you're letting go of something.
Right. All you have is you have a grip button on the side, you have a trigger, and you have a trackpad or a button. And the overall controller is a little bit too wide for my hand. It just feels a little unnatural. Now, it's perfectly ergonomic as far as I can reach every button and I can do everything that I need to do.
But it's not natural feeling.
But I'm certainly not holding a gun.
Yes.
I don't hold my guns like this. You know, it's just it's not natural. The Vive knuckles that I tried out at CES, those felt natural. They wrapped naturally. The prototype that I held on to was a little small. I gave him a couple of pointers on adjusting it for Western hands, shall we say. But I'm certainly curious to see what they come out with.
Yeah, but you had a bit more of a grip not joystick, but no, just a grippiness to it.
They had either joysticks or trackpads that you could use, which was nice.
It was a bit more like, I'm going to grab this object and this motion.
Right.
I'm going to do this instead of I got 3 fingers already gripped around something
right.
and I'm doing this.
Right, exactly.
So that's the big thing.
Yep.
Is you have a shadow or an emptiness, a hollowness that you can kind of grab onto the handle. That's internal.
I can let go and I can do this naturally, and it feels like I'm grabbing something.
Exactly.
So, looking forward to it. New news to come on that very soon, most likely. Like I said, the Oculus Quest is rumored, or the Oculus Rift 2 or Rift S. Excuse me. Trying to keep all these.
Or was it Plus?
No, it was the Rift S. It wasn't the Plus. It wasn't Intel's plus, and it wasn't ITV plus.
There's too many variants. Why can't there just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? That's it. That's just.
Well, 3 years ago, Apple said, you know what? It's just the iPad. It's the new iPad. So now there's literally a model that is like iPad 1, iPad 2, iPad 3, iPad 4, iPad Air 2, the new iPad 7th gen. It's just like, what?
Yes.
So yeah, there's a new iPad model that's out there.
It's probably because they're like, this is the iPad 327. You know.
Right. But speaking of too many SKUs, you have 32 versions of the iPad that you're selling today. Yeah.
Yeah. Some other gaming news. I'll let Jeff go ahead and drink his beer, and I'll try to take some of this off of him.
This is like candy.
It is actually. It's not too sweet.
It's not too sweet though.
I'm not actually a big brown fan, and this is very nice. It's not too caramely. I don't taste any saltiness. Was it salted caramel? Yeah, I don't really get that. I get the caramel. I get a little bit of nuttiness from the brown.
Yeah.
It really does taste like toffee, like the one of those candies. You mentioned earlier.
It tastes kind of like peanut brittle. I gotta say.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But yeah, it just tastes like
more towards the caramel butterscotch side of
butterscotch,
things.
yeah,
but
really
kind of
does.
that.
Yeah, it really does. It's a very nice fall beer.
Yeah,
it tastes like fall, kind of almost.
This is like an early October beer.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Yeah, I can see that.
Way better than your pumpkin crap.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is pretty good. I can see pumpkin in this. New salted caramel brown pumpkin coming this year at Hops and Brews.
Salted brown pumpkin.
I'll bring a couple cans.
Hashtag band names.
Hopefully I'll bring a couple cans and hopefully they don't explode.
Yeah. What was that?
But anyway, there's been a lot of all these retro mini arcades, video game systems coming out. And who's the jump on the bandwagon but Sega Genesis.
Sega. Now, this is not their first foray into re-releasing
the classics.
Classic console, classic controller kind of thing. But this is an official Sega Megadrive Mini.
Yes. If you remember a couple of years, maybe 5, 10, even 10 years ago, you used to go to Fred Meyer or some of your local stores, and during Christmas time, they would have...
They'd have the 20-in-1 system.
The 20-in-1 system, but it was a full-size, looked like a full-size system.
Yep.
That would hook up, and it was still, I believe, RCA.
Yeah.
That was the
all the ones at this point I've seen have been RCA based.
Yeah. And so this is horrible. But so this one is going to be, they're officially released it, because I think we even talked a rumor of this. I think you guys even ragged on me. I think you and Steve talked about this.
Yep.
But it's official launch date, September 19th, 2019. So just on that cusp of Christmas.
So guys, in 5.5 months, we're going to launch a Sega Mini.
Yeah.
Kind of like everyone else already did 3 years ago.
And I think I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo comes before this and says, "Hey, N64 Mini's coming out."
Yeah. Because that'd be totally like that.
Oh, it really would be. But I think the coolest thing about this is the 40 games.
Yeah. A little bit larger game library than most.
But I wasn't a big Sega game fan.
See, I had a Genesis and I had a Super growing up. That was the one time in my life that I had dual console, where I had both sides of the fence. So I had all the Sonic games, and I had Knuckles, and I had Comic Zone, and I'm trying to think of some of the other exclusive games.
Yeah,
General Chaos was a great one.
Altered Beast.
Altered Beast. But then on the Super Nintendo side, you had Clay Fighter.
Yeah, you had Clay Fighter, Mario Kart, all the Marios essentially. Yeah. That was back when Nintendo exclusively had Final Fantasies.
Yep.
So
remind me of those that I sold.
Chrono Trigger. Those good fantasy games.
Yeah, I owned Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 3, Chrono Trigger, Earthbound, Populous. I'm trying to think of what else, because that's just like the start of the list that I owned of SNES games. Well, and I sold them all to buy N64 games.
Yeah.
Worst decision of my life.
That's a horrible decision.
Worst decision of my life.
Yeah. Now, those are great games.
I had all of the classics for SNES, and I had Phantasy Star for Sega. And I had... I
had the Michael Jackson game.
The Michael Jackson. I had all the Golden Axe games. I had...
Golden Axe is a great one.
Yeah. So was
it Earthworm Jim was on that?
Earthworm Jim.
Earthworm Jim.
Yep. I think that was for both.
Yeah,
technically.
I think so, too.
But no, I had all of, the desirable games to have on there.
Yeah.
And I sold them.
The one thing I do remember about Sega versus Nintendo, Sega had that they said it was the arcade feel, so they had the arcade uncensored graphics.
Yeah.
And so whenever we would play, my friends, we were our big one was Mortal Kombat.
Right.
And it was Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat.
There's a spider in the bottom of that glass.
Oh, extra protein. But Mortal Kombat had the blood in the arcade version. And for the Super Nintendo, it was green blood for some reason.
Right.
But the Sega Genesis, they had the red. They kept the arcade blood red in there. And so that was the big deal about...
Some floaties at the bottom of that one.
You sure that's not backwash?
I'm pretty sure. Wouldn't be that much.
So, but I didn't. There was a couple of bit of game releases that they talked about, but you're obviously gonna get the Sega Genesis or the Sonic the Hedgehog series. A couple of weird Japanese ones that looks like, but 720p resolution, which will kind of be some interesting things. But these old systems or these retro systems, I don't really get it now because again there are retro pies, essentially that you could do
Allegedly.
Not that I build them or could build them, whatever, but you could technically go on a.
Not that I have a video on my channel that shows you how to build a retro pie with legally downloaded
games.
Shame on you,
yes.
You filthy pirates.
Are.
I've asked you to go.
Yeah, but and there literally is. They're probably going to charge about what the standard is $100 for this. Mm-hmm. I'm betting they will.
I think it's going to be like $79.
Oh, it says 80. So,
$80.
$80.
Nailed it.
$80. But nailed still, it. So in your video, what a retro pie? It's $38 for the pie. Case about $10.
It was case, controllers, memory card, everything else.
Probably 60.
No, it was a little more than that because the controllers were $15 a pop, so that's $30 right there.
30
plus
bucks.
30, so you're already at 68. You haven't bought memory card or case or anything. I was about $100. I was less than $100.
Let's just say equal price.
Right.
$80. Equal price, $80. But then what's the memory capacity you probably bought? 32 gigs? You can probably 64 gig now. SD cards are dropping.
I'm going to plead the fifth on this one.
But SD cards now are so cheap. They're probably even cheaper now than when you made the video.
Thereabouts, yeah.
Yeah, so you can go. I bought a 64 gig SD card for $20.
You can get way cheaper than that now.
Oh, yeah. So then, there you go.
You can get 64 gigs for, I think, $13.
There you go. And that'll hold you thousands of non-pirated legal games.
Not that there are thousands of non-pirated legal games,
but you know what I mean. And on top of that, too, the Retro Pi, though, on top of that, also, you can turn it into a media center if you know what you're kind of doing. Mm-hmm. You can do a lot of things with it, where this, you can't. You're limited to those 40. And the biggest complaint with all of these retro games is I only wanted 2 of those games.
Yep.
And
you don't have the other 7 that I did.
And I don't have the other 7 that I really want. And I'm paying $80 for the 2 games.
Right. Because right now, they've announced Sonic 2. They haven't announced Sonic and Knuckles. They haven't announced Sonic 3. They haven't announced Sonic 1. They haven't announced Sonic Spinball or Sonic Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Or they've announced Sonic 2. They've done...
Bunch of Japanese games.
They got Comic Zone. At least they got Comic Zone.
There you go.
So that's one off the list.
They got Castlevania Bloodline.
Ooh, yeah, everyone's clamoring for that one.
Yeah. Powerball. Shining Force.
Shining Force was good. I will say that. I had Shining Force.
So, I mean, I don't know. I'm more curious if this is going to be like the PlayStation, where this is technically just a Retro Pi inside, and people are just going to be able to hack it. Mm-hmm. Actually, I did that for a friend, and it was like, yeah, he only had 2 games that he liked, and this is a great beer. I already know it's a good beer.
Yeah.
You know what I love about this beer is it kind of is like an old Russian Imperial. It's kind of harsh.
It's harsh.
It's harsh.
Yeah.
It almost makes you feel of cold winter, the Arctic Russian winter.
Right.
And I want to have a big fur coat and a hat. Right. And this is bold and in your face.
Here, comrade. This will warm you up.
Exactly. That's exactly what...
Yeah.
When I first got into craft beer, Steve, this is one of the ones I was like, oh, this is a bit much. Mm-hmm. And then 3rd, 4th bottle in, I'm like, oh, this is really good. Mm-hmm. So they do actually make variant barrel-aged versions of these.
Yes.
They're about $25 a bottle.
I've had one.
I've had one, and it was okay. But they do whiskey and bourbon, so I had a whiskey, which is a bit too harsh. Yeah. On the whiskey
I had the
side.
bourbon to sweeten it up a little bit.
Really? Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Excuse me.
But I'm not super excited about the Sega Genesis thing.
Yeah, neither am I. It'll be available.
It'll be available, and I'm gonna get people like, hey, I just bought this, and I'm gonna be like, why did you spend that money? Give me here, take it back. Give me $80, and I will legally download you some other games that you'll like.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. The thing that, well, I will say Sega is going to have more nostalgia factor than PlayStation does.
I don't know. PlayStation
had some decent stuff, but what games did they put on the PlayStation Retro?
Well, they had Final Fantasy.
Who cares? I can get Final Fantasy on 13 different platforms right now.
Yeah, but that's still nostalgic, and it's probably one of the top 3 Final Fantasies there was.
Right, it was Final Fantasy VII. I'll give them that.
And then they put a Crash Bandicoot on there, and they put it. I thought they did.
I don't think they put Crash on there. But Crash is available for Switch. I've already got that. I can Crash on 7 different platforms.
Wasn't there was it Twisted Metal 2, 3, something like that?
Yeah, it was something like that.
And then
like nothing else.
They did a Resident Evil. I think it was Resident Evil 2 or 3. But yeah, no Tomb Raider, no go look it up. It wasn't good. It really wasn't good. I think they even did a Street Fighter, but it was like Street Fighter Tetris.
Full lineup of 20 games. Battle Arena Toshiden. Cool Borders 2.
They did the Grand Theft Auto.
So, Cool Borders, okay, decent one. Destruction Derby, decent one. Final Fantasy VII. Grand Theft Auto, the original Grand Theft Auto. Intelligent Cube, Jumping Flash, Metal Gear Solid, decent game. Mr. Driller, Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, good game. Rayman. Resident Evil Director's Cut. Revelations Persona, Ridge Racer. Again, you can have that on any console you could ever want. Super Puzzle Fighter. Siphon Filter, Tekken 3. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Twisted Metal, and Wild Arms.
Oh, so they don't have
4 of those games I would want.
Yeah, so they don't have Crash Bandicoot
there's no Crash. There's no Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Think of the classic games on the first PlayStation. There's no Phantasy Star.
Yeah.
There's no Red Faction. There's no Kane's Legacy.
Yeah.
Think of like the games that you spent 100 hours in. None of those are there outside of Final Fantasy VII and Twisted Metal.
Yep.
That's it. All of the rest of those games outside of like Tekken 3 are available on other systems already. You can already play them. You've already been playing them for 20 years if you wanted to play them. So this was nothing special.
But you get to play it on a PS controller. Again.
I can buy a PlayStation controller for most other systems.
But no.
And it's not all that nostalgic to me. But I think the Sega's going to have slightly more nostalgia than the PS1 Classic did.
You think so?
With Sonic games and with some of the more cartoony arcade-style games. So, like Comic Zone. That's got some great nostalgia to it. Sonic and Knuckles has some great nostalgia.
I was never a Sonic fan, though.
Right. Golden Axe. If you get into more of the arcade crossover style games, you're gonna win.
Yeah, I think if they do stick with more of the arcade cross, it'd be great if they did kind of like, hey, I know you can get Mortal Kombat, but really emphasize Mortal Kombat arcade with the blood and the gore, kind of bringing back that old advertisement. We were the best version of that game out there.
Totally.
At the time. You want to play that original version again, and especially with Mortal Kombat 11 or something was just announced, and they're actually going with a whole retro timeline theme. So it would be really cool if they threw that in there and just threw their advertising, because really their game, it's just an advertising play. It's not anything special they have to redo in the game. So
yeah, but like I said, compared to the PlayStation lineup,
which was $20 more.
Which was $20 more, it was $100. And like I said, like 4 of those games I'd want to play again, but Cool Borders is not a game that's going to age well. Metal Gear Solid, the original one, is not a game that's going to age well. Resident Evil, not a game that's going to age well.
No.
When you get into the 3D era, it has to be a game that the graphics still hold up in some way or shape or form today. Like Ocarina of Time. I can still go back and play that game. Yeah. Because it still looks decent.
Well, it also had a good story.
It also had a great story. The early PlayStation graphics engine was terrible.
Blocky.
It changed your geometry based on your perspective of an object. And so as you're flying around 3D objects, they would literally like bend shape on you.
Yeah.
And that's very evident in emulation, but plugging it into an HDMI TV, it's going to be even more obvious. I lost what word I was trying to think of there. It's going to be even more obvious. Versus if Nintendo came out with the N64 graphics age better than PlayStation graphics because the rendering engine was better on that system than it was on PlayStation.
Yeah.
So
chip versus CD.
Right. It was chip versus CD, but also just the way they rendered those polygons in 3D space was more true to life and accurate on the Nintendo than it was on PlayStation. So I know why the PlayStation failed. I think the Sega's going to do slightly better. It's still not going to beat the Nintendo because the Nintendo has the nostalgia factor for all of the first-party games that it had. Yeah. Sega has some, but not as many.
Not many. Well, the thing is, though, like you were saying, Nintendo pretty much owns the rights to almost all Sega original games. So they went through them on the Switch.
Right.
And be like, hey, you want to play Sonic? Here we go. And I think they even announced recently that if you sign up for Amazon Prime, you get a year.
You get a year free of Nintendo Prime.
Of all of their classic game subscriptions, which was not on our thing, but still, you can go and do that. I think it's still available now.
Yep.
So if you are an Amazon Prime member, still, you can go and get its. You sign up for 6 months, it's just a free 6-month trial, and then they'll give you another 6 months for free.
Yep.
So if you have a Switch, go do that.
Yep.
Some other VR news, gaming news. Kind of, if you guys are Marvel fans too, ever thought about basically being Tony Stark? You can now be Tony Stark.
Yep.
And picture rendering looks really cool.
This game looks impressive. It looks really impressive. So this is Ironman Vr. Unfortunately, it's coming to PlayStation VR as an exclusive.
No, I heard it's coming to Steam too.
I heard it was just exclusive. Did I read wrong?
I saw another article and I thought it was or maybe it was Oculus, but I know it's PlayStation, and I swear it was one other one.
Is coming out sometime in 2019 and being PSVR exclusive.
Oh, okay.
Last line of the article.
So
pricing and availability for the game beyond it is coming out sometime in 2019.
Man, have you played the PlayStation VR?
I have.
I don't like it. I don't like it. It just it's the lowest end version. I think it's worse than Windows Mixed Reality.
Yes, absolutely.
It's really bad.
Yep. The tracking is not very good in PlayStation VR. It's using optical only tracking instead of infrared optical tracking. So your PlayStation Move controllers, which were never meant to be rendered in 3D space, they're being forced to be rendered in 3D space by basically a PlayStation Eye camera that's been mounted to your forehead.
Yeah, a single camera too.
Single camera, right? So if you move too fast, your hand is going to be behind, or glitching, or jumping, or doing any number of things, because it is not using infrared low latency camera. It is using the same 24 FPS color camera that was used on the PlayStation Eye toy to render your
badminton, your
single
tennis
orb in 3D space, and it's combining that with accelerometer data to get you close enough.
Yeah.
So disappointed that this is only coming to PSVR, but it is cool news if you have a PSVR, because this might be an experience that does sell consoles.
It looks, and the rendering, the pictures, the graphics look very nice.
Yes.
I'm curious though, because also the VR, or the PlayStation VR, the goggles, they are not very good. I mean, they are probably some of the worst screen door effects I have seen. I didn't even get to try your 4K one, but they were the worst, and these are very crisp images. It's like going from rendering to one of those, what were those, dot matrix, not dot, handheld push button graphics.
Yeah.
Old Nico.
Well, no, if you think of the Game Boy Color, that was a dot matrix display.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it seems.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't think it's going to be great. I almost wonder if it's going to be, it's automatically going to play, and you just move your arms around and tell it when to shoot.
Right.
You know, it's going to be one of those.
Yeah, I wonder how scripted the experience is going to be.
Yeah.
Because the graphics look amazing. The renderings look great. But we have yet to see a moving trailer. We have yet to see actual like in-game play from this. It could be really cool. It could be absolute garbage. I don't know. I'm kind of hoping it's really cool. Because...
I kind of hope it is really cool too. I hope eventually... Oh, sorry.
No, let's go.
I hope eventually, if it is a big enough success, maybe they move it to Valve or Steam or
totally
something different. But I bet it's going to be a very scripted... Hey, fly here, and then we land, and until you push this button, you can look around.
Right.
Push the button to activate the story. Okay, shoot here. Go.
Okay, fly.
All right, fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, type of a thing.
I feel like it'll be scripted, but at the same time, I feel like that's the experience that some VR people are missing on the PlayStation. You can play Arizona Sunshine on the PlayStation.
Which is, I still think it's one of my favorite.
One of the best VR experiences
I
ever.
tried getting my brothers, they were up recently to play that, and they were just like, no. I was like, no, you have to play it. It's just one of the scariest games you'll ever play.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it. It's so bright and everything, but within 5 minutes you have these things running at you, and you start forgetting where you're at and sweating.
And that's without putting them into the story itself and putting them down in the mines.
Yeah, no.
Holy crap.
I started playing the story, and even then I was like, oh my gosh, this is getting intense.
I've only jumped twice inside of VR. Once was playing literally a VR horror experience. And it was, it was Belko, The Room. It was an escape room. And it was an escape room demo based off of a movie that didn't make any sense. But I jumped when like something crawled out of the vent or something like that. And I jumped in Arizona Sunshine.
Oh yeah, I remember when you had the studio above me. You had the VR room.
Yeah.
And Arizona Sunshine made me jump. I think you guys even made fun of me for doing it.
Totally.
But it's one of those games like you.
I may have jumped in duck season once too.
Yeah. That one there's some interesting.
I still have like anxiety trying to play that game.
That's an interesting.
It's
game.
an intense.
It's an intense game once it gets into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Arizona Sunshine is also a very fun game to watch someone play.
Mm-hmm.
The survival modes, not the actual story mode.
Last bit of game news
Yep.
is I want to talk about Borderlands 3, one of my favorite all-time franchises. And we'll do this really quick because it is 10 o'clock, so it's technically time to sign off. But we'll get into this last story. And hopefully not take 20 minutes. So Borderlands 3 announced late last week to very much a lot of fanfare. Because the trailer is freaking amazing. If you haven't watched it, go watch the trailer. It is everything you ever wanted Borderlands to be. The universe is expanded. The characters are more diverse. All of your favorite characters are back. The cell shading looks better than ever. The environment looks better than ever. Bigger, badder, more weapons, more exploration, more looting, more fun with friends.
What you want from a sequel.
Yes, what you want from a sequel. And not from a pre-sequel. Anyway, there's been some news floating around lately, and it was pretty much confirmed that Borderlands 3 will be releasing exclusively on the Epic Store for 6 months. Anti-competitive and anti-consumer practices are never, ever, ever, ever good for the industry. They might be good for the publisher. I'm sure 2K Games is saying, well, we got X amount of $1 million from Epic, and we no longer have to pay licensing fees because we use it Unreal Engine inside of this game. So because we're releasing it on the Epic Store exclusively, we don't have to pay Unreal Engine licensing. But things like this are...
I don't know. I don't like that.
I don't like it.
I just don't like it. I don't like it when this is a AAA title, and you're now limiting your audience to you have to go download the Epic Store. You have to sign up for that. Half the time, most of these stores are horrible to download. For like Origin, for example, I hate downloading from Origin. It's just limited. Oh god, this is actually super disappointing for me.
Yeah.
I I never actually got to play Borderlands 2. I really enjoyed Borderlands, the original one. I thought it was great. I thought it was a cool concept. This looks really fun too. If I get the time in my life, probably won't. But it looks really cool. Like you said, the shading, the graphics. I just think it has this really great, rich comic book art-esque to it.
Yeah.
Really cool. Again, but just super disappointed. I don't want to have to go sign up for another store, download another program to launch it, only to play it within the first 6 months.
Right.
Or else I'm going to be behind everyone again. If you are one of those people that wants to be, one of the first.
Right.
Then they didn't even announce though that after the 6 months, who's going to get it? For all we know, it could be another slightly limited release. I just never like those practices.
So, if you read the Reddit threads right now, there's a lot of people saying, I'm just going to pirate it until it's released on Steam. And I hate piracy. I despise piracy. If you're going to consume a product, pay for the damn product. Pay for it because that's the developer's paycheck. That's their breadwinner. That's their whatever they need to survive. That's why they made the game. They made the game to make money. So I vehemently disagree with the people who say I'm just going to pirate it until it's available on Steam. But at the same time, I understand the mindset.
Yeah, I agree with that
and here's the thing, is PC piracy up until about 2010 was rampant in the PC space.
Yeah.
You can go to the Pirate Bay and you can download anything game you wanted, cracked, DRM free, no CD key, whatever you wanted. Download it, press the installer from Razer 1911 or whatever popular cracker that you wanted of the day. Not that I'm naming any names particular, not that I'm aware of any names particular, but back in the day, you could download any game you wanted right off the bat.
You guys want StarCraft 2? I got StarCraft 2.
Yeah. But I will say, I haven't pirated a game in over a decade because everything I've ever wanted to play is on Steam. Everything. And Gabe Newell has come out and said, piracy is not a theft problem, it's an availability problem. If you make the product available, people want to pay for the product. And Apple proved this with music. If you make the product available, people will pay for it.
Yeah.
They want a legitimate and easy and one-click way to pay for a product. And where is music piracy today? It's almost non-existent because you have Spotify and you have iTunes. And people just go, I'd rather just spend $10 a month on Spotify or $12 a month on Apple Music or buy an album on Apple Music and own it permanently or put it on my iPhone or whatever else.
Yeah.
There are so many services that are one-click availability to download anything that I want. Anything.
I mean, and everything's all just, if you don't mind listening to commercials, it's free now too.
Right. And for the last 10 years, PC gaming has been that. PC gaming has been anything you could ever want is available either DRM free through Good Old Games or on Steam.
Yeah.
It has been.
Until a couple of recently, within 5 years.
EA was the first about 3 years ago to pull the EA games out of Steam and say we are no longer selling games on Steam. We're going to make our own launcher with blackjack and hookers. They were the first one to do it.
And they forgot the blackjack and hookers.
And they forgot the blackjack and hookers. All they had was the venereal disease. So they thank you. So they created Origin, and Origin is just a crappy launcher. It's a crappy interface. It never works right. None of my games activate online, so I can actually freaking play them online. The number of times in the first 7 years that I owned Need for Speed Shift, because I played that online frequently. I bought a brand new retail copy off the store shelf from GameStop, a copy of Need for Speed Shift that was a disc that came with a game key. And I took it home, I put it in, I installed the game, and lo and behold, that game key had already been used. Well, I couldn't activate the game. So I called EA support and I said, hey, my game's already been activated. I don't know why.
I bought it.
I just bought it. It's Christmas morning. I'm just trying to play the damn game. And they said, oh, can you mail it or email us a copy of the game disc and the CD key to prove that you have it. And I said, yeah, absolutely. They said, okay, cool. Well, here's a new CD key. I put that CD key in. The game activates. I play it. I play it online for like 3 months. Deactivated. Deactivated because the key is in use somewhere else. Okay, so I call them back again, and I go through that same process again. I went through that process 4 times before I said, and I went and just downloaded a ripped copy of it and played it online at my leisure.
Yeah.
That didn't need a CD key. That didn't need activation. That didn't need to go through all the steps of loading it into Origin and all these other things. And that has happened on every single EA game that I own on Origin. It's happened with Battlefield 4. It's happened with Battlefront. It's happened with Crysis 3. It's happened with Mass Effect 3. Go down the list. The customer service and experience side of this is horribly broken. Driving me to piracy.
Yes. No, it really is. It really is.
If your game is not available, and if I've paid money for the game, it's going to drive me to find a source to be able to play the game.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And that really comes out. And I just don't want to. It almost feel like, too, I'm adding bloatware with all these brand new companies coming out with, hey, this is our new game launcher. This is our new game launcher. This is our new game launcher. I have 5 or 6 now game launchers on my PC with bloatware that it's asking me to add to my program or my
Ubisoft.
PC. Thank you. And I need it turned on right away with my PC, or else it takes 20 minutes for my game to load because I got to go and update it and everything. No, if you leave it open, it'll update automatically and it'll be seamless. Bull. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
No, that's just not how it works.
Yep.
There's just nothing. Origin, I think, is probably the biggest offender of all of them.
Origin's the biggest, and Ubisoft's is right behind it.
Yes, it is.
But look at all the other game stores that have come out that are not smooth and are not a seamless customer experience. Those games are turning off customers to simply buying the game and playing it. The end product is being able to play the damn game that you just bought.
Yeah.
And if that is not a one-click affair, that system will fail. And so the problem I have with Borderlands 3 going to the Epic Store exclusively is that, number one, the Epic Store is not a well-refined environment and ecosystem that Steam is. It's not. Number two, what's the customer service going to be like? What's the end user experience going to be like? Where are all my games at? I've got 500 games. Do you think they're going to be
ready for the flood of calls and, I need assistance with this? They are not going to be ready for
What's their multiplayer support like? What happens when hackers come online? What happens with this? What happens with that?
It's not going to work.
Right. What happens when all of a sudden I can't get on because my account's been banned for whatever reason? What's my recourse as a player?
How many people do you have ready for support? Mm-hmm. They probably, we think it's going to be this because it's going to launch smoothly. We only got 50 people.
And I'm not saying that Steam is perfect, but the reason Steam was successful and the reason why PC piracy essentially went away, by the way, you're never going to get 100%, but if you get 95%, you're doing pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And Steam eliminated 95% of the piracy on the market because they were available and they were one click and they worked.
And it's one click is all, your library's right there. That's the other really bad part, is your library's now spread apart.
Right. I own 8 games on Origin. I own 70 games on Good Old Games. I own 520 on Steam. I don't own a single on Ubisoft except for the ones that I bought on Steam that all of a sudden made me activate an Ubisoft account, like Far Cry 5.
2 because I got them for free.
Yeah, I got Far Cry 5, and I think I have one other that uses the Ubi store. Which launches after I launch it through Steam, which just drives me freaking nuts. Right. Steam, why did you allow that? But piracy is an availability issue, and it's a user experience issue. The reason that the Pirate Bay and before that, what was the peer-to-peer?
No.
Napster
and Origin, not I had the logo.
There was the other peer-to-peer that I used.
Yeah.
It wasn't Napster. It was the other one.
Gosh, I remember. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've drawn a blank, but anyway. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a reason that those Kazaa. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kazaa. Yeah. Old school. Thank you. There was a reason that those services worked. It was because
LimeWire too.
LimeWire.
That was the one I was thinking of.
Right. I was thinking Kazaa. There was a reason that those services were more successful in the day than the music stores like Sony and a couple others were. It's because Sony was installing bootloaders onto your or rootkits onto your Windows XP machine and basically infecting your machine with malware to ensure that you had the rights to be able to play back Sony music, or just download the damn file at 320k from Napster or Kazaa, and you're playing it DRM free.
Yeah.
For less clicks and less headache and less registration and less, go sign up and make sure this client is installed. And oh, you can't burn it to a CD, or you can't listen to it on your MP3 player. Make it available and people will play it and people will buy it and they will buy it happily.
Oh, yeah.
95% will. End of discussion. Right now you have people who have 200 games on Steam who legitimately paid for 200 games on Steam saying, I'm just going to pirate the damn thing because Epic Store sucks. And that Epic Store is the problem. And that Borderlands is why I have a problem.
Yeah. Well, we got two choices here.
Yep.
We have, we can continue talking, and you can finish your beer for the next, 5-10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Or we can call it good. It is a little bit past 10:13, so we are a little past our deadline.
Yep.
But Jeff, I'll leave this up to you.
I think calling it good, because I think that's a good place to end.
I thought that was a good point to end on.
Yeah. So, rant number 4. No, that was rant number 5. I'll give it number 5. That was rant number 5.
Like 5.5.
No, 5. 5 even. We'll call it 5 even.
I mean, if Rhett was here, it would be like 9.
Yeah. Yeah, Rhett would have had 6 of them.
Yeah, and it would be 11 o'clock right now.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, rant counter was about 5. Thank you. Yep. Morning from Ireland. Morning, and someone said Guten Morgen from Germany earlier. Guten Morgen to you as well. Guten Abend, because I'm going to go to bed here in a minute. But yeah, no, I think that's a good place to be. Yeah, it's so frustrating when people do money grabs. They're stepping over $1 to pick up a dime.
Yep.
It's really what it is. Epic Store says, Steam only gives you 80% of the revenue. We'll give you 85.
Yeah.
And these companies are lining up, hand over foot to take the 5 cents. It's like, yeah, but you're going to lose 60 cents in the process. Don't you realize that? Don't you realize where the market is at? If you want to put it on the Epic Store, do what you've been doing for years. Give them a GameStop freaking DLC exclusive gun, skin, gold. Take an artist 5 minutes to develop.
Yeah, exactly. But put it on the rest of the platforms. But be like, hey, you can get this extra gun, extra skin, whatever. And you get this bonus level, downloadable content over in this one. And
make it multi-platform so we can still play with our Steam friends, or I can play with my Epic Store friends.
Oh God, that's what I hate about it.
God bless their souls.
Yeah.
But make it available and make it easy and make it user-friendly and user-serviceable. And be prepared for issues that come up, because when those issues come up, if you don't address them, they will go elsewhere. And if there's nowhere else to go, they'll pirate it. Yep. That's what happens. That's the market. And as soon as these companies understand it and stop reaching over the $1 to pick up the dime, the industry will get better. It got better for a decade, but now it's starting to fragment again because people are getting greedy.
Yep. That still counts as rant number 5 because it's about the same topic.
It's about the same topic.
The only other thing I want to say before you end is, hey guys, if you had a question, because actually while you were talking, I did see a lot of questions on the chat. Obviously we can't get to them, but put them in the comments. Jeff, myself, Steve, some of the other guys, we will try to answer them.
Yes.
We love doing that. Jeff reads every comment.
Yep.
I try to spend in on shows that I am. Steve and Rhett, they all do the same thing. Yep. So if you had a comment that wasn't answered, question that wasn't answered, leave it in the comments. I'll try my best to answer it.
Yes, definitely. I saw one comment about an HDMI capture card. I saw one about what video card I should buy. I saw a couple others in there. So I was reading them as they went by, but this discussion just kind of went long.
It kind of went long. So yeah. So just leave it in the comments if it doesn't get answered in the live show.
Follow me on Twitter at Craft Computing. Follow John on Twitter at Hops and Brews. Follow John at Hops and Brews on YouTube. Follow me at Craft Computing, which I'm assuming you're already there on YouTube.
Yeah, follow. So hit the like and subscribe on Jeff's channel.
That's right. And, God, it's a good beer.
It is a good beer. I mean, it just gets better.
Yep. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching episode 76 of Talking Heads, your once weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. And we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Cheers all.